Chapter 459. The Black Sparrow takes action after Chu Fan brought Chunyu back to the tavern. He directly unlocked the shackles on him. As for the mark left on Chunyu, Chu Fan did not remove it. He wanted to wait for the owner of the mark to arrive. Since they had imprisoned Chunyu, he would collect some interest first. Chu Fan checked Chunyu's spiritual consciousness and found it to be in a state of chaos. Nearly shattered. Before this, Chunyu must have endured immense suffering. Even now, she was still calling out Hua Ruashi's name. Chu Fan's heart sank. He had just attempted to heal Chunyu when he discovered that as soon as his primordial power entered her mind, it was suddenly devoured by a vortex that appeared out of nowhere. Someone had set up a method on Chunyu to prevent others from treating her. The only person capable of doing this, apart from the mysterious individual who took away the entire Hongmeng universe, was none other than that person. What was his purpose? Why did he bring Chunyu to the demon world? Just as Chu Fan was pondering this, Lu Qi burst into the tavern with his men, heading straight for the second floor. When he saw Chunyu next to Chu Fan, a smile appeared on his face. Kid, didn't expect that even if you saved him, this king could still find you, Lu Qi said proudly. Chapter 460. The princess of the Black Rock Demon Clan, after swallowing Lu Qi, the Black Sparrow took a deep breath and devoured all the fainted demons on the ground. After a satisfying burp, it shrank down again to the size of a fist and flew back to Chu Fan's shoulder. Chu Fan nodded in satisfaction. The Black Sparrow acted decisively and without hesitation, which was quite good. He glanced at the other demons watching around, ignored them, and with a thought, instantly disappeared from the spot. It wasn't until a quarter of an hour later, after confirming that Chu Fan had left, that the surrounding demons dared to approach the tavern. They looked at the only remaining head of Lu Qi on the ground, gasping in shock. The head of the chief of the Fubao Pavilion, a 9th-tier powerhouse, had been wiped out along with over 30 experts from the Fubao Pavilion, all devoured by the Black Sparrow. The Fubao Pavilion was finished. The various demon clans exchanged glances, unsure of what to say. After a while, the strongman of the Illusion Fox Demon Clan, Shang Yin, hurried over upon receiving the news. When he saw Lu Qi's head on the ground, still glaring with unwilling eyes, his expression turned extremely cold. Although he and Lu Qi often competed due to their competitive spirit, both enjoyed the process. Over the years, he and Lu Qi had developed a special bond, being brothers who shared both joy and hardship. Chapter 461. The giant statue demon clan after the princess of the Black Rock Demon Clan subdued the young lion-faced demon. She turned to glance at Chu Fan in the distance. When she saw Chu Fan's handsome face, her eyes lit up. What a gem, must mark him, thought the princess of the Black Rock Demon Clan, and she promptly smiled at Chu Fan, throwing him a flirtatious glance. She didn't realize Chu Fan's cultivation level. Even the Black Sparrow perched on Chu Fan's shoulder, she merely regarded as an ordinary bird. Only a small number of 9th-tier powerhouses would know of the Black Sparrow's existence. It had been in the Demon Ridge for many years. So it was normal for the younger generation, like the princess of the Black Rock Demon Clan, not to know about it. Unfazed by the princess's flirtation, Chu Fan looked indifferent and turned his gaze elsewhere. Over there, 5 imposing figures were rapidly approaching. From a distance, Chu Fan clearly saw the appearance of the newcomers. It was a young man and 4 subordinates. However, what surprised Chu Fan was their physique, which was incredibly striking. Master, it's the giant statue demon clan coming. The Black Sparrow also noticed the newcomers and revealed their identity. Hearing the commotion, the princess of the Black Rock Demon Clan also looked towards the giant statue demon clan. Upon recognizing the prince of the giant statue demon clan, she revealed a meaningful smile. Chapter 462. Yin Mei's disappearance as the 2 demons fought. A thunderous roar echoed through the air. Originally, Hu Quan was somewhat weaker than Yin Mei, but with the enhancement of the Fire Dragon Staff, he could exchange blows with Yin Mei. Chu Fan looked up and saw that both Yin Mei and Hu Quan were at the 8th tier, 6 stars of cultivation, with Yin Mei being slightly stronger overall. Chu Fan could tell that although Hu Quan was currently fighting evenly with Yin Mei, he had already exhausted all his strength, while Yin Mei still had some reserves. If Hu Quan did not have a greater trump card, he would ultimately be the one to lose. In midair, Hu Quan's expression was grave. He did not expect that in such a short time, Yin Mei's strength had increased again. This was not the result he wanted. He had come this time intending to kill Yin Mei. Now in battle, he was showing signs of defeat. How could he accept this? Ancestors, please help me, Hu Quan shouted in his heart, and suddenly, flames erupted from the Fire Dragon Staff in his hand, flying towards Yin Mei at an incredible speed. Seeing this, Yanmei immediately retracted her dragon bone whip, and the black scales on her body emitted a dazzling light, resisting the incoming flames. Shameless. Actually using external force. Do you think you're the only one who can do that? Yanmei said coldly, while simultaneously drawing a palm-sized black scale from behind her. Chapter 463. 4 heavenly demon powerhouses in the center of the demon world, beneath the ground in a 10,000-meter deep pit, for uniquely shaped demons sat on a massive altar. They were positioned in the 4 cardinal directions, intently drawing immense magical power from a young man at the center of the altar. This young man was currently in a state of slumber, dressed in black, possessing perfect features, with 2 small dragon horns growing from his forehead. If the Black Sparrow were present, it would certainly recognize that the demons sitting at the 4 positions were the 4 most powerful heavenly demons in the demon world. Sitting to the east was the most powerful heavenly demon, Ming Zhu, whose true form was the Hell 3-headed dog. Now, he had transformed into a human-like appearance. With a dignified face, even with his eyes closed, one could feel the oppressive aura he emitted. To the west was the only female powerhouse among the 5 heavenly demons of the demon world, named Pasha, not to be confused with Pasa. Pasha was a rare ghost serpent who had attained enlightenment, and her transformed body was that of a seductive demoness with snake-like hair. To the south was the Ghost Emperor, an incarnation of the divine demon's seed, with formidable strength and unbeatable defense. To the north was the weakest among the 4 heavenly demons, Bloodling, while Ming Zhu, Pasha, and the Ghost Emperor were all at the 10th tier, 9 stars, while Bloodling was at the 10th tier, 8 stars. Chapter 464. The Black-Clad Youth is a clone. The sacred clan of the underworld demon, the Black-Clad Youth awakened. This was not the first time. When he first awakened, Ming Zhu and the others did not notice anything unusual, thinking it was a common occurrence. As a result, when the Black-Clad Youth awakened, he directly erupted with 5th-tier, star-level strength, and at that time, Ming Zhu and the others were at the same level. The Black-Clad Youth attempted to break free from his restraints and escape the altar. Ming Zhu and the other 4 heavenly demons joined forces and paid a heavy price to suppress him. Since then, every 300,000 years, the Black-Clad Youth would awaken once. With the experience gained, Ming Zhu and the others would immediately suppress him before he was fully awakened. When a young man in black had not fully awakened, he was weak, and it was the best time to suppress him. However, if he fully awakened, his strength would be on par with Ming Zhu and the others, making it very difficult to suppress him. But this time, it had not been 30,000 years since the last time the young man in black awakened. Had something happened during this time? After a moment of silence, Ming Zhu said, "We have been here for countless years, and we do not know what has happened outside. How about this? I will send my subordinates to investigate whether anything special has happened in the demon world recently." Chapter 465. The Crisis of the Ming Demon Holy Clan. Black Sparrow takes action, my lord. It is the Ming Demon Holy Clan and the Red Flame Demon Clan, Black Sparrow shouted. Chu Fan note that from the previous conversation, he learned that the ancestor of the Ming Demon Holy Clan was injured, and then the Red Flame Demon Clan took the opportunity to invade, intending to exterminate the Ming Demon Holy Clan. The Red Flame Demon Clan and the Ming Demon Holy Clan are the only 2 demon clans in the demon world that have 9th-tier 8-star powerhouses stationed. Apart from the 5 major heavenly demons who hardly interfere with external affairs, and the 2 supreme powers of the Heart Demon Clan and the Longevity Demon Clan, the Red Flame Demon Clan and the Ming Demon Holy Clan are the most powerful forces. These 2 forces have always been hostile, and the reason for their hostility can no longer be traced. The Red Flame Demon Clan has always wanted to annex the Ming Demon Holy Clan, and the Ming Demon Holy Clan also wants to destroy the Red Flame Demon Clan. With the Heavenly Demons and the Heart Demon Clan and Longevity Demon Clan completely uninvolved, the conflict between the Red Flame Demon Clan and the Ming Demon Holy Clan has intensified. Let's go and take a look. Chu Fan could see that Black Sparrow said he didn't want to return to the clan, but deep down he still wanted to help them. Over these days, Black Sparrow had indeed added a lot of fun for Chu Fan, so he decided to lend a hand to the Ming Demon Holy Clan. Thank you, my lord. Black Sparrow expressed gratitude, understanding Chu Fan's intention. Chu Fan quietly approached the sound without letting them notice. Chapter 466. A single finger resolves the ancestor of the Red Flame Demon Clan Black Sparrow. The clan leader of the Ming Demon Holy Clan looked at Black Sparrow, momentarily unsure of what to say. Take me to the ancestor, Black Sparrow said coldly. It had been a long time since it had returned. and it no longer remembered the location of the Ming Demon Holy Clan's base. However, the clan leader of the Ming Demon Holy Clan hesitated, realizing that Black Sparrow's strength should be at 9th tier 5-star. Would it be possible to rescue the ancestor? The ancestor's opponent was a powerful existence at 9th tier 8-star. Going directly would lead to total annihilation, wouldn't it? Black Sparrow had just saved a clansman, and the clan leader of the Ming Demon Holy Clan did not want him to take risks. Black Sparrow saw through the clan leader's thoughts and disdainfully said, "Just take me. I have my own methods to deal with it." Although it couldn't defeat the 9th tier 8-star ancestor of the Red Flame Demon Clan, it had Chu Fan's help, so it felt completely unafraid. Seeing Black Sparrow's confident and unquestionable gaze, the clan leader of the Ming Demon Holy Clan reacted and repeatedly said, "All right, I will lead the way." The surviving clansmen of the Ming Demon Holy Clan remained silent. Some secretly glanced at Black Sparrow with bitter expressions. A large portion of these clansmen had participated in the expulsion of Black Sparrow. Chapter 467. Heart Demon Clan, is there anything else? Black Sparrow asked. Do you want to return to the clan? The clan leader of the Ming Demon Holy Clan looked at Black Sparrow with pleading eyes. The other clansmen looked similarly. After experiencing life and death, their mindset had changed significantly, regardless of Black Sparrow's terrifying strength. Such an act of saving their clansmen in times of danger deserved the highest honor within the clan. Even if Black Sparrow proposed to become the clan leader now, they would nod in agreement without hesitation. Black Sparrow shook its head, refusing. I have no such intention. Let's just be well in our own ways in the future. After saying this, Chu Fan and Black Sparrow instantly disappeared from Zhu Xin and the other's sight. Zhu Xin walked over, patted the shoulder of the clan leader of the Ming Demon Holy Clan, and said earnestly, "Forget it, Mo Chong. The cause sown back then is the fruit of today." Zhu Xin only learned later that Black Sparrow was expelled from the clan due to bloodline issues. At that time, he was in seclusion to break through to a new level, and by the time he emerged, several 100,000 years had already passed. After hearing about this, he did not say anything, as he had rarely concerned himself with clan matters, which were all managed by the clan leader Mo Chong. Now that the Ming Demon Holy Clan was facing a crisis of extermination, Black Sparrow set aside past grievances and helped them resolve their enemies, which could be considered the greatest favor to the Ming Demon Holy Clan. Chapter 468. A show of strength. It's not surprising that Wei Ming was astonished. It was mainly because it happened too suddenly. If it were anyone else, when they were talking to themselves, suddenly hearing someone else's voice from the side, it would be remarkable not to be scared to death. Moreover, where was this place? This was the clan hall of the Heart Demon Clan, heavily guarded, without permission. No outsider could directly enter. Wei Ming did not detect any fluctuations in the space, and a living person appeared in the hall. Weren't you just looking for the murderer who killed the ancestor of the Red Flame Demon Clan? It is I. How? Do you want to take revenge for him? Chu Fan said with a calm smile. Wei Ming quickly denied it, secretly crushing a piece of jade slip behind his back. He was calling for help from the ancestor. The pressure Chu Fan put on him was too great. Chu Fan, who noticed this small action, did not say anything. Senior, you jest. I have no connection with the Red Flame Demon Clan. If they're dead, they are dead. How could I cause you any trouble? You are quite perceptive, but here, I would like to remind you, do not harbor any thoughts about the Ming Demon Holy Clan in the future otherwise. Chu Fan raised his hand, forming a barrier that enveloped Wei Ming, and continued, otherwise, I will come back to have a chat with you. Chapter 469. The arrival of the life-ending heavenly demon in the clan of the Longevity Demon Clan. The clan leader Lin Yuqian frowned slightly as he listened to his subordinate's important report. You are saying that a mysterious expert entered the Heart Demon Clan, and shortly after, the Heart Demon Clan announced a friendship with the Ming Demon Holy Clan? Yes, clan leader. The source of the news is completely credible. Lin Yuqian's expression turned serious. He felt that this matter was definitely not simple. He decided to discuss it with the ancestor. After dismissing his subordinates, Lin Yuqian turned and went to the forbidden area of the back mountain, where he met the ancestor of the clan, Lin Fanxin. Lin Fanxin, like Hong Min of the Heart Demon Clan, had a cultivation level of 10th tier 2-star, but he had not been recognized by the demon world and was not yet a heavenly demon. Lin Fanxin was a tall elder with a kind face, belonging to the more approachable type. The physical characteristics of the Longevity Demon Clan are similar to those of humans, except that they have 2 antennae on their heads and are more than twice the size of humans. After hearing Lin Yuqian's account, Lin Fanxin also showed a curious expression. This mysterious person who entered the Heart Demon clan might be stronger than both me and the old man Hong Min, Lin Fanxin speculated. Lin Fanxin understood Hong Min well. He knew that Hong Min would not be at a disadvantage. In his view, given the current status of the Heart Demon clan, it was impossible for them to befriend forces like the Ming Demon Holy Clan, as that would lower their status too much. Chapter 470. The Conspiracy of the Life-Ending Heavenly Demon Chu Fan. Chu Fan replied, Dan Danda. Chu Fan was completely uninterested in the flattery of the Demon of Destiny. The Demon of Destiny had been following him for several days, and Chu Fan had long noticed it, but simply chose to ignore it. Despite the Demon of Destiny appearing harmless, it was possible that it harbored malicious intentions. The Demon of Destiny smiled awkwardly and, to ease the tension, changed the subject. Are you interested in entering the bridge of Deathly Void, Taoist Chu Fan? At the end of this bridge, Ming Zhu and the others are currently cultivating underground. They are all powerful, and if disturbed during their training. What if? Chu Fan asked. I'm afraid they would launch a siege against us. The Demon of Destiny paused before continuing. If you join forces with me, we might have a chance to turn the tables on them. Now, Chu Fan understood that the Demon of Destiny's target was the 4 major demons. It seemed that the Demon of Destiny had made a lot of preparations over the years, always looking for opportunities to deal with other demons. Are you planning to devour them to increase your power? Chu Fan asked. As long as you cooperate with me, I'll take my share, and you take yours. I believe what you're looking for should be in their hands, the Demon of Destiny replied. Chapter 471. The Demon of Destiny's Trump Card. Demon God Technique. Ming Zhu and the others looked in the direction indicated by the Demon of Destiny and saw a young man in white behind them. They vaguely felt that this young man seemed familiar. The young man in white had a vacant expression, as if he were being controlled, and slowly walked up to the Demon of Destiny. Then, he quickly raised his palm and slapped the Demon of Destiny across the face. The Demon of Destiny, who had been feeling proud, was momentarily stunned. He covered his reddened cheek with one hand and pointed at Chu Fan with the other, scolding, "What's wrong with you? I told you to kill them, not to hit me." Chu Fan's eyes regained their focus, revealing a playful smile as he said, "I meant to hit you, you clown." It turned out that Chu Fan had always been wary of the Demon of Destiny. When the Demon of Destiny handed him a bead that could conceal his aura, he sensed something was off. Inside the bead was a tiny worm that could enter his body through its essence, occupying his brain and invading his consciousness. Once this worm entered the body, even someone at the 9th level of the Dominator realm could be affected and turned into a puppet. The Demon of Destiny's goal was to make Chu Fan his puppet to weaken Ming Zhu and the others' power. He had planned other contingencies to take down Ming Zhu and the others in one fell swoop. Chapter 472. The young man in black awakens while Ming Zhu and the Demon of Destiny were engaged in a fierce battle. Chu Fan had already returned to the altar. In the center of the altar sat a young man in black with his eyes tightly closed, slightly bowing his head in a meditative posture. Pure demonic energy surged from him, being drawn to the 4 corners of the altar. Chu Fan knew that this young man in black was his avatar from the demon world. With the insight from his eye of insight, Chu Fan saw that a total of 18 formations enveloped the altar. These were set up by Ming Zhu and the others, but to Chu Fan, they were easy to handle. He could enter without even needing to break the formations. However, Chu Fan did not proceed with that. He sensed that his reincarnated avatar was at a critical moment. Instead, he gathered his origin power to form a chair and comfortably lay back on it. Half an hour later, Ming Zhu, Pasha, Gui Di, and Xue Ling returned, all injured. After fighting thousands of rounds with the Demon of Destiny, they had ultimately gained the upper hand and severely wounded him. The confinement formation set up by Chu Fan also ceased to function due to the aftermath of the battle, allowing the Demon of Destiny to escape under the protection of the Black Lotus Divine Seat. Chapter 473. The terrifying Chu Ming and the mystery of the 9-world coffin. The young man in black completely ignored the black chains, allowing them to wrap around him. He turned to look at Chu Fan, feeling the connection between them, and nodded happily. Boom! Ming Zhu's voice echoed again as he trembled slightly, trying to suppress the young man in black with the chains. Pasha, Gui Di, and Xue Ling gritted their teeth, continuously channeling demonic energy into the formation to assist Ming Zhu in suppressing the young man in black. The young man, filled with hatred, snorted coldly, raised his hand, and snapped his fingers. The countless black chains binding him instantly melted away, transforming into pure demonic energy that merged into his body. I, Chu Ming, have finally returned. The young man in black laughed heartily. Immediately, a purple gourd appeared in Chu Ming's hand, aimed at Pasha. Suck! With a command. The purple gourd emitted a suction force that pulled Pasha inside. During this process, Pasha was unable to resist, her terrifying cultivation completely ineffective. Chu Ming, undo do. Aimed the gourd at Gui Di and Xueling. In the blink of an eye, all three major demons were captured by Chu Ming. He shook the purple gourd, and the sound of water came from within. Satisfied, he closed the gourd's opening and stored it in his space. Chapter 474. Pursuing the Demon of Destiny outside the Bridge of Deathly Void, after Chu Fan and Chu Ming appeared. The hidden black sparrow quickly flew to rest on Chu Fan's shoulder. Master, the Demon of Destiny just fled in a panic. Yes, I know. I'm about to settle the score with him, Chu Fan replied. What happened, Master? Upon hearing that Chu Fan was going to deal with its idol, the black sparrow asked with concern. In its eyes, Chu Fan was a great benefactor, while the Demon of Destiny was its idol. And it did not want any conflict between the two. He designed a trap for me at the bottom of a pit, attempting to turn me into a puppet to achieve his goals. That's too despicable. I didn't expect him to be such a demon, appearing dignified and righteous on the surface. Yet so dark-hearted, the black sparrow exclaimed indignantly. It paused for a moment and continued, I, Black Sparrow, am ashamed to associate with such a morally bankrupt demon. Master, please hurry and kill him. In just a few moments, the Demon of Destiny's status in the Black Sparrow's heart plummeted, turning from idol to menace. The speed of this change was astonishingly fast. Chu Ming chuckled and said, This little bird is quite amusing. I think it would be a good fit to be a demon in the future. The Black Sparrow blinked its eyes at Chu Ming, filled with confusion, wondering who this person was next to its master. Chapter 475. The Will of the Demon World, Are You Afraid of Me? The Demon of Destiny was not someone who would sit idly by. Demonic energy surged beneath his feet as he once again unleashed the demon god technique, elevating his power to the 9th stage, 9 stars. The injuries on his body were temporarily suppressed by his demonic energy. His plan was to end the battle quickly so he could continue healing. Even upon hearing Chu Ming say that Ming Zhu and the other demons had been killed, he did not falter. Thanks to the characteristics of the demon god technique, even if he were outmatched, he could not be killed. Before Chu Ming's attack could arrive, the Demon of Destiny charged forward instead. The black lotus divine seat beneath his feet spun wildly, emanating boundless demonic energy that completely corroded the suction force in front of him. The Demon of Destiny's reliance was the demon god technique, whose released demonic energy could corrode everything. If it weren't for the fact that the Dark Candles didn't understand why a large part of the released magical power could actually resist his corrosion, he wouldn't have been severely injured by them and fled in disgrace. Seeing that the purple-black gourd was ineffective, Chu Ming simply put it away and attacked the Jiaming Tian Mo with his bare hands. Naively, then let me defeat you. Jiaming Tian Mo did not intend to kill Chu Ming. He wanted to defeat him first and then imprison him to squeeze him for more. Chapter 476. Leaving the demon world, the Eternal Night King, hearing Chu Fan's words, the will of the demon world, which was about to leave, suddenly stopped, looking at Chu Fan in confusion. Is there anything else? Chu Fan pointed at the Black Sparrow and said, You better pay attention. This is the future demon. Are you not going to offer your support? If it's still too early, let's talk when it breaks through to the 10th level. By then, it will naturally reap its benefits. That's fine. By the way, do you know where this person is now? Chu Fan depicted Yu Sun's appearance in the void. The will of the demon world frowned, looked for a while, and finally replied. This person took the Hongming chessboard from the Blood Demon Cave back then and left in a hurry. He is not here now. After answering, the will of the demon world did not wait for Chu Fan to speak again and turn to dissipate. It didn't want to stay here any longer. It couldn't win and was being interrogated like a criminal. As the will of the demon world, it had its dignity. Chu Fan said nothing. Things were as he had guessed. Yu Sun entered the demon world for the Hongmeng artifact. What he didn't expect was that this Hongmeng artifact was actually the Hongmeng chessboard, ranked 4th among the 10 Hongmeng artifacts. Chapter 477. Defeat of the Eternal Night King. The mysterious existence of Tian Zhu Mountain. Hearing the words of the Eternal Night King, Chu Fan was also a bit surprised. It turned out that the seal he obtained, which he did not know the function of, was actually one of the Hongmeng artifacts. The dragon-slaying seal ranks 5th among the 10 Hongmeng artifacts and is one of the most mysterious artifacts. It's split into 4 small seals at some unknown time. The Eternal Night King continued, stating that he did not intend to hide this secret. As for the function of a dragon-slaying seal, I don't know either. Perhaps when the dragon-slaying seal is complete, all answers will emerge. Chu Fan nodded and said, "So, you want to win the 2 small seals in my hands through fair competition, right?" "Exactly. So, do you want to fight? Just right? I'm also very interested in this dragon-slaying seal, so let us battle." Saying this, Chu Fan assumed a battle stance. Chu Fan did this to show some respect to the Eternal Night King. If he defeated him too casually, it would cause the Eternal Night King to feel a sense of defeat. After all, he came to challenge him openly, and he needed to give him some face. Seeing this, the Eternal Night King's expression hardened, and he quickly formed hand seals. "Although you defeated the Golden Dawn Lord, you may not necessarily be my match. Take this." Chapter 478. Merging the Dragon-Slaying Seal. Ancient images appear when the Eternal Night King was expelled from the mysterious space. He caught a glimpse of the 3 giant characters Tianju Mountain on a distant peak. Later, he named this mysterious space Tianju Mountain. He then hid to recover from his injuries and observed secretly when the Golden Dawn Lord attempted to break through. However, throughout the entire process, he did not see Tianju Mountain appear, and the Golden Dawn Lord almost died from backlash. Later, the Green Robe Lord, the Death Lord, and the Destruction Elder all had similar experiences to the Golden Dawn Lord. Thus, he concluded that he was the only one who had entered Tianju Mountain, and besides him, no more than 3 people knew of its existence. What he failed to break through back then, the Golden Dawn Lord must have been nearby and took away a piece of land that was cut off by a mysterious person, which later became the place of pilgrimage. The Golden Dawn Lord might know something, but he absolutely did not know the name Tianju Mountain. Now that Chu Fan revealed it outright, he was quite surprised. Chu Fan replied, "It's nothing. I learned it from some clues and combined information from certain people." "All right, since the outcome is decided, you can leave now." Chu Fan was eager to see the secrets of the dragon-slaying seal and began to drive the Eternal Night King away. Chapter 479. The Origin of the Dragon-Slaying Seal. Death Lord's ambush. Unfortunately, the 5-clawed golden dragon did not know that the 4 prison-guarding divine elephants were one entity. To break their suppression, they had to deal with them simultaneously. If they only dealt with one, they would achieve no results. The 5-clawed golden dragon's claws grasped at the prison-guarding divine elephant, only to grasp a mass of air. The prison-guarding divine elephant was right in front of it, yet it could not touch it. At this moment, a man with a sword rushed in from the left, using the same moves he used against the immortal crane. The 5-clawed golden dragon was now locked in by the prison-guarding divine elephants. With invisible forces suppressing it from above, its current strength was greatly weakened, comparable to that of the previous immortal crane. The man easily inflicted several wounds on the back of the 5-clawed golden dragon, cutting through its hard scales and penetrating into the flesh, golden blood gushing from the wounds. The 5-clawed golden dragon cried out in pain, looking at the sword in the man's hand in surprise. This sword is extraordinary. In today's world, when it comes to defense, the 5-clawed golden dragon can be said to be among the best, except for the Asking Heaven sword, which it needs to avoid in combat. There is basically no one who can break through its defenses. The 5-clawed golden dragon was sure that the sword in the man's hand was definitely not the Asking Heaven sword. However, this sword still managed to injure it, indicating that even if it was not as good as the Asking Heaven sword, it was not far behind. Chapter 480. The Book of Life and Death determines life and death. The Death Lord flees in disgrace, just as the Death Lord broke free from the returning Void Finger. He did not know that he had already been targeted by Chu Fan, who was looking at the ancient book in his hand. After the Death Lord exited the range of the returning Void Finger, his gaze returned, and he was still in the space of the sky's scar. Realizing Chu Fan's immense strength, the Death Lord retracted his previous arrogance and began to treat the situation cautiously. In his mind, he frantically thought of ways to deal with Chu Fan, and after contemplating, there was only that one move. However, if he used that move, he would also be injured. It was a move that would harm 1,000 enemies and hurt himself 800. If Chu Fan's cultivation were weaker than his, using this move would not affect him at all. But the reality was that Chu Fan's strength was above his. Seeing Chu Fan about to make a move again, the Death Lord, with no time to think, gritted his teeth and made his final decision. He bit his index finger, letting the blood drip onto the ancient book in his hand. He carefully wrote the character for death, and once the ancient book completely absorbed the blood, he picked it up and directed it toward Chu Fan. Chu Fan only felt an inexplicable force surge into his body, establishing a faint connection with the ancient book. Chapter 481. The Mysterious Eye. Rescuing Old Man Sure Mo. How did you end up here? The Death Lord, with tears and snot flowing, cried like a delicate beauty. Drenched in tears, the appearance of Chu Fan completely shattered the last line of defense in his heart, leaving him stunned. Initially, he still held a glimmer of hope that he could slowly recover in this secret space and eventually return to his peak. However, Chu Fan's arrival extinguished the last flicker of hope. When he was at his peak, he was not even a match for Chu Fan. Now that his strength was reduced to almost nothing, how could he fight back? No, you can't kill me, the Death Lord said hurriedly, not wanting to die. Why can't I kill you? Chu Fan replied with a light laugh. As long as you don't kill me, I can tell you a secret. Upon hearing this, Chu Fan became interested and slowly approached. Just when the Death Lord thought he would not be killed, a large hand slapped down on his head. The Death Lord's eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at Chu Fan. Isn't this action supposed to spare my life? Why aren't you following the usual rules? Don't you want to know that secret? I'm not interested in your so-called secret. And besides, killing you would also be avenging Zhu Long. Chapter 482. The World-Destroying Elder. The Rebirth Blade. Chu Fan. I'm ready. What do you plan to do? Old Master Sure Mo asked eagerly, having been trapped in the Hill of Oblivion for many years. If there had been a way to get out, he would have long taken his blade to dismember that enemy. To this day, he still bore the wound from that knife years ago. World-Destroying Elder. Your time of death is approaching. Chu Fan understood Old Master Sure Mo's feelings and took out the dragon-slaying seal, explaining by chance. I obtained the most mysterious dragon-slaying seal among the 10 Hongmeng artifacts, which can shake the world and naturally can suppress the Hill of Oblivion. That's great, Old Master Sure Mo said joyfully. The Hill of Oblivion was where Old Master Sure Mo had fought against the World-Destroying Elder and had narrowly lost. At that time, the World-Destroying Elder wielded the Rebirth Blade and struck Old Master Sure Mo's back. If it weren't for the zeroing table erupting at a critical moment, Old Master Sure Mo would have long since perished. Even though Old Master Sure Mo was gravely injured, with the zeroing table in hand, the World-Destroying Elder couldn't kill him. So he used the power of the Rebirth Blade to trap him in the Hill of Oblivion. Everyone else could enter and exit freely. But if Old Master Sure Mo left the Hill of Oblivion, it would trigger a series of collapses. Chapter 483. The Mysterious Paper. Congratulations, Master, congratulations. Seeing Old Master Sure Mo freed, the old locust tree was filled with tears. Old Master Sure Mo smiled and said, "Thank you for your hard work, old buddy. Now I need to go with Chu Fan to take down the enemy. You stay here to guard the Hill of Oblivion." The collapse that had occurred in the Hill of Oblivion was suppressed by Chu Fan, and now that the power of rebirth had been extinguished, the Hill of Oblivion was saved. Although the Hill of Oblivion had previously been a cage for Old Master Sure Mo, he had spent so long inside that he had developed feelings for it. He still decided that after killing the World-Destroying Elder, he would return to the Hill of Oblivion to enjoy his retirement. After all, the fine wine he cared about was still brewing deep underground in the Hill of Oblivion. Yes, Master, I wish you victory. Chu Fan stored the prison-suppressing divine elephant in the dragon-slaying seal and flew over. Let's go. I have already locked onto the World-Destroying Elder's location. Old Master Sure Mo snorted coldly and said, "This World-Destroying Elder is indeed sinister. Even trying to strike me again while I'm diminishing my rebirth power. Does he think he can get rid of me like this? I owe it all to you, Chu Fan." Chu Fan waved his hand and said, "No need for courtesy. Besides, I'm quite interested in that Rebirth Blade." Chapter 484. The Life and Death Ledger unleashes power. Suppressing the World-Destroying Elder. Upon hearing this, Chu Fan said nothing. He preferred to let strength speak for itself rather than engage in banter. The World-Destroying Elder, unable to see the truth and fond of showing off, should use at least 10% of his strength when he strikes. Old Master Sure Mo was different. He laughed heartily, pointing at the World-Destroying Elder and loudly proclaiming, "World-Destroying Elder, you will ultimately be destroyed by your own arrogance." The World-Destroying Elder looked down on him, gently stroking the Rebirth Blade in his hand, a look of tenderness in his eyes. "Old buddy, you haven't tasted the blood of the strong for many years. Today, let me give you a good drink." After saying this, the world-destroying elder stared directly at old master Shurimo, a murderous intent flashing in his eyes. Since the hill of oblivion couldn't completely extinguish you, then let's do it again. Seeing that the world-destroying elder was about to attack him, old master Shurimo flew back to Chu Fan's side. Chu Fan, you first knock him down, then I'll take over. Remember, don't kill him. After old master Shurimo said this, he suddenly turned around and hid behind Chu Fan. For old master Shurimo's behavior, Chu Fan merely smiled faintly and didn't mind. The world-destroying elder, wielding the rebirth blade, was slightly stronger than old master Shurimo. To determine the outcome, they would need at least 2.5 months of fighting. Chapter 485, Killing the World-Destroying Elder. Here we go. Old master Shurimo rubbed his hands and flew over. The world-destroying elder was now a lamb waiting to be slaughtered, making it just right for old master Shurimo to seek revenge. The world-destroying elder looked at old master Shurimo's cold and smug expression. Panic spread across his face, and with his 7 orifices still bleeding, he appeared terrifying. What do you want to do? What do I want to do? Naturally, it's to take revenge for the grievances, for the grudge you framed me for back then. Ha! Old master Shurimo's emotions began to distort, as if he had entered a frenzy. When the name Cindy was mentioned, the world-destroying elder became even more afraid and hurriedly explained, "No, I've already explained this. I didn't mean to kill her. If she hadn't resisted, how could I have accidentally killed her? She was the one I loved the most." Nonsense. Cindy and I truly loved each other. You took advantage of my absence to harm her. When she resisted, you killed her. You're a beast. The more old master Shurimo spoke, the more agitated he became, directly kicking violently at the world-destroying elder. The world-destroying elder was sent flying, crashing against the bank of the Rebirth River, his face scraping against the dirt for over 10 meters. He was in excruciating pain, and his decaying body, which was barely held together by bones, nearly fell apart. Chapter 486. The mysterious eyes reappear, heading to the source cave as soon as the world-destroying elder died. The life and death ledger in Chu Fan's hand immediately emitted light, about to absorb everything about the world-destroying elder. Just then, an unexpected change occurred. The waters of the Rebirth River suddenly roiled, surging onto the bank and submerging the world-destroying elder's corpse. The world-destroying elder's body dissolved in the river at a visible speed, interrupting the pulling force from the life and death ledger. Chu Fan used his insightful to take a look and indeed discover clue. Hidden in the waters of the Rebirth River was a pair of purple eyes. The purple eyes seemed to sense that Chu Fan had seen them, blinked once, and then disappeared. The Rebirth River returned to calm once more. What happened, Chu Fan? Old master Shurimo did not see the pair of eyes. All he saw was the world-destroying elder's corpse dissolving. Chu Fan remained silent. He did not intend to tell old master Shurimo about those purple eyes. For old master Shurimo, knowing about those eyes would not be good and could even bring disaster. Chu Fan could be certain that the owner of those purple eyes was definitely a being with power surpassing that of the king of eternal night. This realization made Chu Fan wary. He originally thought that the strongest entities within the Tianji Hen space were the existence of Tianju Mountain and the king of eternal night and his companions. Chapter 487. Meeting Yusun, the ultimate realm, explained. Chu Fan speculated that this person was Yusun, a powerful being who seemed to be stronger than the king of eternal night and slightly weaker than himself. The location of the source cave was not something anyone could discover. Chu Fan had entered due to a stroke of luck and had inadvertently obtained the 9 generations coffin. Chu Fan was not worried that Yusun would take his core wooden bead after entering. The core wooden bead had already been completely refined by Chu Fan, and the 9 parts of the 9 generations coffin were on his avatar, making it impossible for anyone else to refine them. This was all of Chu Fan's possessions. Only he could take them. If it weren't for the concern that his main body might lose the core wooden bead during reincarnation, Chu Fan wouldn't have stored it in the source cave. Relatively speaking, the source cave was very safe and suitable for placing the core wooden bead. Without further hesitation, Chu Fan leaped into the lake and quickly entered the source cave. Although called the source cave, it was actually an underground space. This underground space was constructed from the fusion of 3,000 fundamental principles, and its essence was similar to that of the Hongmeng universe. If the source cave were to expand infinitely, it would eventually become a Hongmeng universe. The only difference was that the source cave had no life born within it, lacking the power of creation. This was the main reason why Chu Fan named it the Source Cave. Chapter 488. The method to break through the Hongmeng controller realm. Upon hearing this, Yu Sun straightforwardly took out a piece of paper. When Chu Fan looked at it, he saw that the texture of this page was identical to that of the one CMO had given him, indicating that they belonged to the same document. Chu Fan also took out a page from his spatial system and said, "I have a page here as well." Yu Sun approached, compared the two pages, nodded, and said, "Yes, this is indeed a complete version." At that moment, the two pages in close proximity reacted and magically flew into the air, merging together. The characters on the paper seemed to come alive, continuously writhing on the page. Once the two pages fully merged, the mysterious characters began to transform into ordinary text. A long string of text hovered in midair, like a projection. Chu Fan and Yu Sun focused on the words in the air. The text described the ultimate mysteries of cultivation realms. Just as Yu Sun had said, the earlier descriptions referred to the realm above the 9th level of the Dominator realm, the half-step Hongmeng controller realm, and the true Hongmeng controller realm. In this universe, which included the Tianji Hen space and countless connected dimensional universes, there was only one Hongmeng controller. Chapter 489. The Daydreaming Mago. Could the three directions indicated on the paper be the locations of the three Hongmeng artifacts yet to be obtained? Chu Fan decided to leave the Source Cave to investigate. In the sky above the Tianji Hen space, Chu Fan stood in midair, his eyes fixed on the paper in his hand. The directions displayed on the paper had not changed, but when Chu Fan changed direction, the needle on the paper also shifted, resembling a compass detector. At that moment, Chu Fan decided to head west, following the guidance of the paper. It took him a day to finally arrive at his destination, a dense forest filled with lush greenery. Expanding his consciousness, he saw a simple wooden house at the center of the forest, complete with a small courtyard. Could one of the Hongmeng artifacts be inside? Chu Fan thought to himself. He then entered the dense forest and flew towards the wooden house. Soon, he arrived in front of the small wooden house and heard sounds coming from within. Listening closely, it was the rhythmic sound of a wooden fish being struck. Was there someone inside, a monk perhaps? Chu Fan approached and gently knocked on the door, causing the sound of the wooden fish to abruptly stop. After a moment, the door opened, revealing a Taoist nun. Chapter 490. Gifting the Mago the Heart Sutra. The green-robed king seeks help in the end. The Mago still accepted Chu Fan's wooden fish with some hesitation. She gently stroked the textured wooden fish and then looked up at the Forgetting Feelings bowl on the square table, feeling conflicted inside. After contemplating for a couple of breaths, she gritted her teeth, quickly walked to the table, picked up the Forgetting Feelings bowl, and handed it to Chu Fan. "Young Master Chu Fan, in the spirit of reciprocity, since you've given me such a precious wooden fish, I'll give you this." Chu Fan stared in surprise at the Forgetting Feelings bowl before him, momentarily at a loss for words. To receive it so quickly was just too easy, wasn't it? Seeing Chu Fan hesitate, the Mago cautiously asked, "Young Master Chu Fan, is this item not to your liking?" Chu Fan shook his head and explained, "Not at all. On the contrary, this item is very precious, worth countless times more than the wooden fish I gave you. Can you really part with it?" Indeed, the wooden fish that Chu Fan had given the Mago was merely an ordinary monk's item, which, if calculated, was just an artifact at the level of an immortal emperor. Compared to the Forgetting Feelings bowl, one of the 10 Hongmeng artifacts, it was insignificant. Although Chu Fan had the intention to obtain the Forgetting Feelings bowl, he would never deceive the Mago. Hearing Chu Fan's words, the Mago's expression became forlorn. She sighed helplessly and said, "What young Master Chu Fan said. How could I not know?" Chapter 491. Heading to Tianju Mountain, Chu Fan halted his steps, waiting for the Green-Robed King to fly up to him. "Dao friend Chu Fan, please help me," the Green-Robed King said anxiously, pleading with Chu Fan once more. Chu Fan waved his hand, urging the Green-Robed King to calm down. "There's no one chasing you around here. Why are you in such a panic?" Upon hearing this, the Green-Robed King looked around, confirming that the creature was not pursuing him, and finally let out a sigh of relief. He had indeed been frightened. What happened? "It's a monster, Dao friend Chu Fan. That monster killed both the King of Eternal Night and Lord Jin Shao, and now it wants to kill me," the green-robed king exclaimed, shocking Chu Fan. Chu Fan was also slightly taken aback. Both the King of Eternal Night and Lord Jin Shao were dead? How long had it been since they were killed? Not long ago, Chu Fan had dealings with the King of Eternal Night, whose strength was considerable, and the number of people who could kill him was quite small. However, Judging by the Green Robe King's panic, it didn't seem like he was lying. The beings capable of killing the King of Eternal Night and Lord Jin Shao included Yu Sun, the mysterious giant resembling Chu Fan, as well as the existence of Tianju Mountain, the mysterious figure who had taken away the Hongmeng universe, and those purple eyes. Yu Sun could be ruled out, and the others had not been heard of arriving in the Tianjihen space. Chapter 492. Ambush on the road. The pointer on the mysterious paper had only one remaining, still pointing southeast, indicating that the location of Tianju Mountain was in that direction. Chu Fan set off with the Green Robe King. Before heading out, he also checked on Chunyu, who was in the alternate space. Chunyu still appeared the same, not having regained consciousness, and Chu Fan had tried other methods without success. Chu Fan could only leave him for now and wait until he found a way to treat him. Chu Fan speculated that Chunyu's condition was likely the doing of that mysterious entity. Perhaps only by finding him could he understand what was really going on with Chunyu. Chu Fan and the Green Robe King traversed through the spatial turbulence, heading towards the entrance of Tianzhushan. According to their speed, if nothing unexpected happened, they would arrive in about 3 days. However, an unexpected event did occur. On the second day, while flying over the vast ice field, Chu Fan suddenly stopped. Chu Fan, why did you stop all of a sudden? The Green Robe King looked around nervously. Could it be that it has come? Just thinking of those eyes made the Green Robe King feel dizzy. Chapter 493. Finally, you have arrived. The mysterious paper was like the nemesis of the purple eyes. When faced with the mysterious paper, the purple eyes had no intention of fighting and only thought about escaping. Unfortunately, the suction generated by the mysterious paper had tightly restrained those eyes, and no matter how much they struggled, they could not escape. In the end, under the astonished gaze of the Green Robe King, those purple eyes were sucked into the paper, completely sealed. A monster much stronger than the Eternal Night King was subdued by a piece of paper. The Green Robe King rubbed his eyes in disbelief, thinking that this scene was an illusion. When he realized it was real, he couldn't help but exclaim, "I never expected such a powerful entity to be suppressed by a piece of paper. What exactly is this paper's origin?" The Green Robe King turned his gaze to Chu Fan, who was standing in midair, carefully observing the purple eyes inside the paper. After being suppressed, the purple eyes became very calm. It was also the first time Chu Fan realized that there was more to this paper than meets the eye. Soon, the suppressed purple eyes were rapidly refined by the paper, transforming into a wisp of purple gas that entered Chu Fan's mind. Chu Fan savored the messages conveyed by the mysterious paper, and many of his doubts were resolved. Chapter 494. Refining the Asking Heaven Sword. Beginning to break through finally. You have arrived. The man in white slowly turned around, smiling as he looked at Chu Fan. He appeared middle-aged, not particularly handsome, but quite pleasing to the eye, with his weathered eyes indicating an extraordinary past. "You were waiting for me?" Chu Fan asked. Before coming, he had prepared for battle and even created several trump cards. Yet, upon arrival, the man on Tianzhushan claimed to have been waiting for him. The middle-aged man in white nodded, gently lifting the Asking Heaven Sword in his hand and saying, "To be precise, I am waiting for the one who possesses the other 9 primordial artifacts. Could you tell me the reason?" Chu Fan in Guit. Let's sit down and talk. The middle-aged man casually conjured a table and chairs, indicating for Chu Fan to take a seat. After both parties sat down and introduced themselves, the middle-aged man's name was Kuming Wang. Kuming Wang spoke slowly as if telling a story. "My master is the only primordial controller in this world. Before he left, he entrusted me with a task, to hold the Asking Heaven Sword and wait for a fated person to arrive. He said that this fated person would be the next primordial controller. I followed his instructions and stayed at Tianzhushan for billions of years, and finally, I have waited for you." Chapter 495. The primordial body achieves great perfection not only in the mortal realm and the demon world, but also in the 5 elements world. The celestial song world, the underworld god world, the celestial feather world, the void world, the Tao world, and the mystical world. Chu Fan's reincarnated avatars simultaneously entered the black vortex in the sky. In these worlds, Chu Fan's reincarnated avatars were supreme beings, each having written legendary lives in their respective realms. Now, with their departure, the legendary stories came to an end. However, their glorious deeds will be passed down through generations. In the air above Tianzhushan, 9 gigantic black vortices hung high. The first to appear was Chu Yang from the mortal realm. Upon seeing Chu Fan, he slightly nodded and stepped aside to wait for the arrival of the other avatars. Next came Chu Ming from the demon world, Chu Outyin from the five elements world, Chu Tian from the celestial song world, Chu Xingyun from the underworld god world, Chu Yu from the celestial feather world, Chu Feng from the void world, Chu Yin from the Tao world, and Chu Haolu from the mystical world, arriving one after another, with the 9 avatars in place. The fragments of the 9 lifetimes coffins on them became connected, and under the pull of the core wooden bead, the 9 avatars converged together. In a dazzling display of light, the 9 avatars transformed into an ancient bronze coffin radiating an ancient aura. Chapter 496. A mysterious, powerful being appears. It turns out to be him next. Kuming Wang explained the origin of the Tiantian space to Chu Fan. It turned out that the Tiantian space was created by the primordial controller to connect various worlds. The worlds he governed mostly had unique cultivation systems. Although he had the power to condense countless worlds into a single large world and design a unified cultivation system, he chose not to do so. Instead, he constructed the Tiantian space to link the worlds together. The Tiantian space served as a channel and bridge. As long as the corresponding coordinates were found, one could travel from the Tiantian space to another world, just as Chu Fan did when he went to the demon world. Kuming Wang clearly remembered that the primordial controller had said before leaving that when the day came for a new primordial controller to appear, the Tiantian space would also fulfill its mission. At first, Kuming Wang did not know the specifics, but the various changes occurring in the Tiantian space during Chu Fan's forging of the primordial body made him understand everything. Once Chu Fan became the primordial controller, the Tiantian space would completely shatter. At that time, the barriers between the worlds would also disappear, leading to collisions with other worlds. Chapter 497. Breaking through to become the primordial controller. The schemes of the 2 primordial controllers, however, when Chu Fan took action, he clearly felt that Chun Yu in the other space had undergone a change. Originally in a dazed state, Chun Yu had been repeatedly murmuring the words Huaruashi. But just now, Chu Fan distinctly felt that Chun Yu had awakened. Although it was only for an instant, it was still captured by Chu Fan. This Chun Yu has a problem. Chu Fan had some suspicions. Chun Yu had been placed into the demon world by the man in the raincoat for a certain purpose. Now that the raincoat man had appeared, it was understandable that Chun Yu was undergoing some changes. Chu Fan controlled the Qinquan paper to suppress the man in the raincoat, and his eyes happened to catch a smug expression at the corner of the man's mouth. Suppress. Chu Fan Lai Di U De, manipulating the Qinquan paper to subdue the man in the raincoat. The man's expression changed from smug to astonished, then to panic. What kind of sorcery is this? The man in the raincoat shouted anxiously. As he was suppressed by the Qinquan paper, he found that the power within him was completely restrained, unable to exert even 1/10 of his strength. You anticipated that Chu Fan would suppress him with the Hongmeng artifact, and for that, he obtained something to counter it from his master. However, what he didn't expect was that Chu Fan used a seemingly ordinary piece of paper. Chapter 498. Eliminating hidden dangers and entering the heavenly path, the colorful beads were slowly refined by Chu Fan, and he gradually established a connection with a new universe formed by several worlds. A year later, after completely refining the colorful beads, a small fruit condensed in his dantian. The fruit resembled a Bodhi seed, brown in color, with its surface engraved with peculiar characters that looked like tadpoles. Chu Fan called this fruit the Tao fruit, which was the essence condensed after becoming a Hongmeng controller. At this point, Chu Fan finally understood the intentions of Yanling and Kuming Wang, which was to seize his Tao fruit. This Tao fruit could only be possessed by a Hongmeng controller and contain the essence and insights of a Hongmeng controller's entire life. If this Tao fruit were to be devoured and refined by another Hongmeng controller, it wouldn't be as simple as 1 + 1. Reaching a certain quantity would trigger a qualitative change. It was possible that it could reach a higher realm, making it easy to crush ordinary Hongmeng controllers. Previously, Kuming Wang mentioned that his master believed that after reaching the Hongmeng controller stage, one could continue to cultivate. As the saying goes, there is no upper limit to cultivation. Every time one reaches a peak, a new peak will appear. In future realms, you wouldn't know what it was like unless you had seen or experienced it. Chapter 499. The gathering of the 3 great Hongmeng controllers after entering the heavenly path. Chu Fan continuously flew along the only small path. After about a quarter of an hour, the small path suddenly opened up, revealing an endless forest of strange rocks. Countless gigantic stones were haphazardly arranged, each with a different shape, the only commonality being that each stone was engraved with the words Forest of Chaos. Chu Fan stopped and did not continue forward, for in front of him, the disappeared Chunyu had reappeared. However, this time, Chunyu was like a different person. The previous Chunyu was the type who was easygoing and cautious in his actions. Now, he exuded an intimidating aura. "You must be the master behind Su Wentao." "Yinling?" Chu Fan said lightly, showing no surprise. Chu Fan had already obtained information about Yinling's appearance from Su Wentao's memories. Yinling was not surprised either. He knew the plan had failed the moment Su Wentao was killed. "I really can't understand why you can become a Hongming controller without passing the trial of the Forest of Chaos and the Heavenly Path." This was the most unacceptable thing for Yinling. The repeated failures made him very displeased. The first time he designed Gu Wang, who escaped using the Golden Cicada's shedding technique and ultimately became a Hongming controller, his strength comparable to Yinling's. Chapter 500, Gu Wang's billion-year plan in the scene. A young being was currently emanating a cultivation level that had reached the reincarnation realm. Chu Fan looked on calmly, knowing that the scene depicted his origins. Born from chaos, reaching adulthood meant being at the reincarnation realm. There should be no second case like this in the world. The scene had not yet ended. The young being continued to absorb chaotic power, and after an unknown amount of time, his cultivation had reached the 9th level of the Dominator realm. Then, the scene shifted to the space of Tianjihen. The young man aimlessly wandered within the space of Tianjihen, coincidentally entering a place filled with the essence of Hongming, where he saw a coffin. Chu Fan recognized that this was indeed the process through which he obtained the 9 lives coffin in his past life. The only strange thing was that the previously displayed scene was vastly different from his memories. His brows furrowed tighter and tighter. Could it be? Chu Fan decided to continue watching, certain that he would find the answer later. In the scene, after refining the 9 lives coffin, the young man split into 9 avatars, each carrying a fragment of the 9 lives coffin to reincarnate. Along with that, the main body also underwent reincarnation. However, in the scene, only the 9 avatars' reincarnation worlds appeared. The world of the main body's reincarnation did not show up. Chapter 501. The battle between Hongming controllers. At this moment, Chu Fan made his move, charging towards Gu Wang without hesitation. With the system's reminder, Chu Fan now sought Gu Wang's life. Gu Wang was slightly surprised. He couldn't understand how Chu Fan had changed so quickly. Just moments ago, he was on the verge of a breakdown, and now he seemed oddly calm, unaffected by that truth at all. Could it be that he had always been heartless and completely indifferent to those people? Before Gu Wang could think further, Chu Fan had already attacked him. He had no choice but to respond. As the two began to engage in battle, Yinling smiled and decisively stepped aside to watch. "Go ahead, best if both are injured. Then I can reap the benefits," Yinling thought happily. However, an unexpected turn of events occurred. The two, who were about to collide, suddenly changed direction, each slapping Yinling, one on the chest and the other on the back. Everything happened too quickly. Yinling had just stabilized himself when the attacks arrived. Caught off guard, he coughed up blood and forcefully pushed Chu Fan and Gu Wang's hand away, retreating behind the stone forest. "You two are truly insidious." Yinling gritted his teeth at Chu Fan and Gu Wang, continually suppressing the turbulent power within him. Chapter 502. The system strikes. Killing Gu Wang. The expected outcome did not occur, leaving Gu Wang somewhat displeased. Having just made big claims, this undoubtedly embarrassed him. He collected his emotions and stubbornly said, "Even if you have precautions, so what? Your strength is still inferior to mine." Chu Fan smiled faintly and said, "Oh, is that so? Are you prepared for what's next?" After speaking, Chu Fan snapped his fingers, and amidst Gu Wang's puzzled expression, a violent and bizarre force erupted from his body, riddling him with wounds. Gu Wang let out a muffled groan, looking at Chu Fan in shock. "How could this be? When did you make your move?" Gu Wang was shocked because this violent and bizarre power was precisely what he had secretly integrated into Chu Fan's new universe. Now, he was being backfired by these bizarre forces. This process happened too quickly. He didn't have enough time to react before his body exploded, blood surging, sustaining minor injuries. Clearly, Chu Fan could control this bizarre power, and it was done without his knowledge. This was what puzzled him the most. How exactly did Chu Fan accomplish this? To this, Chu Fan did not explain. He had simply perceived the nature of that bizarre power and quietly infused his own strength, altering its properties. Chapter 503. Encounters in the River of Time. creating the Ziwei universe, is this the Tao fruit of a Hongmeng controller? Chu Fan carefully examined the half-red, half-purple round fruit in his hand. Gu Wang's Tao fruit was clearly different from his, primarily in color. Previously, when the word spirit was killed and the Tao fruit appeared, in order to prevent Gu Wang from obtaining the Tao fruit, Chu Fan acted in time to knock the Tao fruit away without closely examining it. Now, Chu Fan has become the final winner and can finally enjoy the fruits of victory. He chose to refine Gu Wang's Tao fruit right on the spot. This refinement took 100 years. While Chu Fan was refining Gu Wang's Tao fruit, in a mysterious realm, a middle-aged man in a purple gold robe suddenly opened his eyes. He actually failed. According to reason, there shouldn't have been any accidents. Could it be an anomaly? The middle-aged man muttered to himself. He slightly raised his head and looked through the palace above him into the endless void. Sigh. Forget it. I'll talk about it later when I have the opportunity. I can't go over now. Those guys will stick to me, and it would be a loss. The middle-aged man shook his head, abandoned his plan to investigate, and closed his eyes to continue his cultivation. The palace returned to tranquility once again. Chapter 504. Reunion. The old madman and the master of the heavenly machine don't exist? In the Tao Sect, the disciples were happily gathered together, completely unaware of the events that had transpired in the universe outside. Their memories only lingered in the time before Su Wintao swept away the Hongmeng universe. This was intentional on Chu Fan's part, as he did not want them to feel that sense of powerlessness and despair. Elder Chu, you're back. Welcome back, Elder Chu. Chu Fan walked in the square of the Tao Sect, seeing all his disciples respectfully greeting him, and he smiled and nodded in response. After experiencing so much, Chu Fan cherished this warm feeling. Back on Xinling Peak, his 5 disciples, including Qin Shui, were still in cultivation. However, Chu Fan noticed that practitioners like the Life Queen, Qian Xiang, and Lu Shi, who did not belong to the Ziwei plane, had disappeared. As Gu Wang had said before, those beings from the Hongmeng universe were all created by him. After being refined by the word spirit, those beings completely ceased to exist. If it weren't for the qualitative change that had occurred in the Ziwei plane, the fate of everyone in the Tao Sect would have been the same as that of the Hongmeng universe. Chu Fan sighed slightly, feeling a bit emotional. Although he did not spend much time with Lu Shi and Qian Xiang, they were among the few friends he had. Chapter 505. The Identity of the Master of the Heavenly Machine. Legend of the Holy Realm. Only this explanation is currently the most reasonable. By erasing the traces of others through the river of time, it's as if they never existed. Only a powerful being like Chu Fan would not be affected by the memories. He could always remember. Just as Chu Fan thought that some other powerful being had erased the tracks of the old madman master and the master of the heavenly machine. The Bodhi tree beside him suddenly shook. The movement of the Bodhi tree immediately caught Chu Fan's attention. He turned his head and saw a Bodhi seed on the tree emitting a faint glow. Under the shimmering light, the Bodhi seed transformed into a human face. This face was one he was very familiar with. It was the master of the heavenly machine, Senior Tianjiyu. The master of the heavenly machine chuckled and said to Chu Fan, I believe you have broken through to the Hongmeng controller realm, indeed worthy of my attention. I know you have many questions, but I don't have much time, so just ask what you want to know. Are you and the old madman master still around? Yes, but we are not from the Ziwei plane. I'll explain this to you in detail later. There is too much to say all at once. Chapter 506. The Old Sixth System. Heading to the Holy Realm, everyone in the Ziwei universe truly felt that this universe was undergoing a transformation. Master, are you going to break through again? Qin Shui stared at the light point in the sky, excitement overflowing. It must be. Master has become stronger again. So happy. Jiang Feng waved his hands, bouncing around. In the endless void, Chu Fan's mind was focused on the Tao fruit within him. At this moment, the Tao fruit was undergoing a transformation. The engravings on the surface of the Tao fruit formed tadpole shapes, slowly merging together. After an unknown amount of time, the Tao fruit disappeared, and its original position was replaced by a colorful leaf. Chu Fan clearly felt that at the moment the colorful leaf appeared, his cultivation had reached a new realm. Is this the celestial master realm? Feeling a power hundreds of times stronger than before. It was as if Chu Fan had opened a new world. To test his strength, Chu Fan once again parted the space and entered the river of time. Last time, during the process of erasing Gu Wang, he had stopped at his second-tier breakthrough stage. Now that he had broken through to the celestial master realm, Chu Fan finally understood that the reason for this was that a powerful being had intervened to protect Guwang. Chapter 507. Departure. Encounter in the Crescent Moon Lake that day. Chu Fan gathered everyone from the Tao Sect into the space and flew toward a farther place. The Ziwei universe had already been settled by him. In the future, more powerful beings would emerge, and the Master Realm was just the beginning. Perhaps, by then, there would be more than one Hongmeng controller appearing. Chu Fan advanced according to the direction indicated by the system, crossing layers of voids and passing through unknown universes. Beneath his feet were countless shining universes. Chu Fan knew he had left the many spaces of the Ziwei universe and arrived at the territory of other Hongmeng controllers. The other Hongmeng controllers did not appear in response to Chu Fan's arrival. For them, Chu Fan's cultivation was enough to crush all of them. Such a powerful being generally would not take action against them. They allowed Chu Fan to pass through their cosmic void without any complaints. 1,000 years later, Chu Fan finally arrived at the system-specified location, Crescent Moon Lake. Crescent Moon Lake resembled a crescent star shining with brilliant starlight, hanging in the void shrouded in black mist. There were no stars or worlds appearing around. This was the entrance to the Holy Realm and a part of the Holy Realm itself. Chapter 508. Entering the Holy Realm. Building the Sect and developing stealthily, Chu Fan traversed through the dripping water beings and finally reached the end of Crescent Moon Lake after about 14 days. During these 14 days, Chu Fan had a smooth journey and encountered no obstacles. At the end of Crescent Moon Lake stood a semicircular archway, 3 zhang high and 1 zhang wide, with various colored shell fragments embedded in the outer circle, twinkling like stars. Master, just walk in directly, and you can enter the Holy Realm. Chu Fan nodded. He first checked on the situation of everyone in the space. Finding everything normal, then stepped into the semicircular archway. Holy Realm, here I come. In the vast sky, a brilliant light descended from the heavens. Even during the day, the light was still eye-catching. Under the gaze of some people, the light fell into the distant mountains. Is there a treasure appearing? Let's go take a look. Treasure. Don't rush to join the fun with everything. Even people of our cultivation can see it. Can't those powerful beings see it? If there is a treasure, it won't be ours. You are just too cautious. As the saying goes, fortune favors the bold. Perhaps the treasure is waiting for someone like me, a fated person. Don't think too optimistically about everything. Reality can shatter your ideals. Chapter 509. The current situation of Taoist Sect. Jiangfeng hunting birds. The endless mountain range, within which no one knows there is a new sect. The Taoist Sect keeps a low profile, focusing on cultivation. They have just arrived, and their primary task is to enhance their strength. As for external matters, they are irrelevant unless they encounter a rare opportunity that requires careful consideration before taking action. Thus, the Taoist Sect spent a peaceful month in the sacred realm. During this time, their cultivation schedule was back on track, and everyone practiced diligently. Additionally, Chu Fan quietly went outside to gather information about the origin domain. He learned that the mountain range where Taoist Sect is located is called the Chaotic Mountains. The Chaotic Mountains is a rather unique area in the origin domain, desolate and uninhabited, generally a territory occupied by wild beasts, demon beasts, and a hideout for ruthless individuals evading pursuit. Through his inquiries, Chu Fan obtained information beyond what the system provided. It was that the 4 ordinary regions, Origin Domain, Wuman Domain, Shisong Domain, and Luoman Domain, have been classified as chaotic lands. The reasons remain a mystery, but some speculate that it is secretly manipulated by powerful beings from the Supreme Domain, Xianli Domain and Qingquan Domain. Chapter 510. The Bluebird uses the enemy as a shield. But, senior brother, our master has already instructed us before entering seclusion that until we break through the Hongmeng controller realm, it is best not to leave the sect unless absolutely necessary. Jiang Feng nodded. Master indeed advised him, and he must heed his words. Then let's not go. Anyway, this bluebird is enough to fill our stomachs. Cool, me. You carry its legs, and I'll carry its neck. Let's take a couple of laps around the sect. All right. A quarter of an hour later, in the Taoist Sect Square, a group of disciples practicing saw Jiang Feng and Bai Ziwe swaggering back from outside. Jiang Feng walked in front, his head slightly raised, gazing at the sky at a 45-degree angle, his eyes inadvertently glancing at the bluebird on his shoulder. Bai Ziwe had a blank expression, each hand gripping one of the bluebird's legs, raised above his head. According to Jiang Feng, This would draw the attention of others to the bluebird immediately. Sure enough, the disciples of Daoi's sect soon gathered around, looking at the bluebird and continuously exclaiming, "Senior brother Jiang Feng, senior brother Bai Ziyue, did you just come back from hunting? This bluebird looks delicious. Where did you catch it, senior brother Jiang Feng? That neck is so long. It must be very tasty." Chapter 511. Sneak Attack on the Rock Eagle. At present, what Daoi's sect lacks the most is cultivation resources. Although people at Jiangfeng and Qing Shui's level still have some resources on hand, with about 800,000 members in Daoi's sect, resources are definitely insufficient. Now, Master Chu Fan is in seclusion, and, as his disciples, they naturally want to help him with something. The purpose of Gosheng and Wu Ying he going out to gather information is also to collect possible cultivation resources from outside, so they can contribute to the sect later. They can't just consume resources for cultivation without making any contributions. That's not what they want. Therefore, they are very interested in the treasure that the bluebird mentioned could enhance the controller realm. What treasure is it? Hurry up and say. I'll cook you immediately. I'll tell you, it's a piece of spiritual mushroom that the rock eagle found in a cave. The medicinal properties of the spiritual mushroom are strong. Only those at the third level of the controller realm and above can refine it. The rock eagle is at the second level of the controller realm, so I guarantee it hasn't refined that piece of spiritual mushroom. If you go. The bluebird's meaning was clear. As long as Jiang Feng goes to Eagle Beak Peak now, he would know that what it said is true. Chapter 512. Saint Hua Rongrong of the Divine Dream Sect. On the other side of the chaotic mountains, a team of 7 is flying deep into the mountains, heading toward Eagle Beak Peak. Among the 7, there are 6 men and 1 woman. The woman is at the second level of the controller realm, while the men are slightly stronger, the weakest being at the third level of the controller realm and the strongest at the 5th level. However, it is evident from their positions that the woman leads the team, while the 6 men act as her guards. At this moment, as they fly toward Eagle Beak Peak, the woman turns to look at the middle-aged man beside her and asks, "Uncle Ling, Zhuo Xuanxiong shouldn't be lying, right? The jade spiritual mushroom is indeed with that rock eagle at Eagle Beak Peak?" The woman is named Hua Rongrong, the saintess of the Divine Dream Sect, a prestigious sect in the origin domain. The middle-aged man, named Zhuo Ying, is Hua Rongrong's protector with a cultivation level at the 5th level of the controller realm. The Zhuo Xuanxiong mentioned by Hua Rongrong is Zhui Ying's nephew, who is also an inner disciple of the Divine Dream Sect. The Divine Dream Sect is considered a top-tier sect in the origin domain, with only a few sects stronger than them, and they have connections with super sects from the Xianli domain. Therefore, the Divine Dream Sect holds a transcendent position in the origin domain. Hua Rongrong's purpose for coming to the Chaotic Mountains is to obtain the Jade Spiritual Mushroom. Chapter 513. Gosheng is being watched. In the Daoi sect, Jiang Feng and Bai Ziyue returned smoothly without encountering anyone or anything on the way. At Xianling Peak, Jiang Feng took the corpse of the rock eagle out of his space and tossed it onto the ground. Qing Shui and the others were called over by Bai Ziyue, and the 5 of them surrounded the rock eagle. "Senior brother Jiang Feng, there's no time to lose. Hurry and start a fire. I want to see how good this rock eagle really tastes," said Hua Wanqing impatiently. This was the first time Jiang Feng saw Hua Wanqing so greedy, which didn't quite match her sweet and fiery appearance. The bluebird, trapped by the tree, saw the already dead rock eagle and felt very pleased, happily whistling. Upon hearing Hua Wanqing's words, it also pleaded, "Master, please give me a piece of rock eagle meat. I want to eat too." The bluebird's greatest wish was to kill the rock eagle with its own hands and then eat its meat. The youth harbored such resentment against the rock eagle because it had nearly plucked all its feathers years ago. This grudge had been remembered by the bluebird, planning to take revenge once it surpassed the rock eagle in strength. Now, although it couldn't kill the rock eagle itself, its death was still a result of its scheme, so in a way, it could be considered as its kill. Chapter 514. The Plot Against the Daoi Sect, Blood Lotus Flower of Shirlian Mountain. I and Wu Ying here being watched. As soon as Gosheng said this, it caused a stir. This was a serious matter. They usually keep a low profile, so who could be watching them? The ones watching us must be quite powerful. They left a mark on us without us noticing. If it weren't for the sect's formation clearing it, Gosheng would not have continued speaking. Thinking of this, he felt a wave of fear. Although this current body is just a clone, if it brings trouble to the sect, he would still feel very guilty. At this moment, Yi Xian interjected. Even if the markers have been cleared, those people will definitely know the general location of the sect. To be safe, for the time being, unless necessary. Everyone should not go out. We'll wait until the situation calms down. The others nodded in understanding. They were well aware of this. Right now, their strength was not strong enough, and with the protection of the sect's formation, staying within the sect was the safest option. The only concern was the mysterious person who had his eyes on them, whether he was an individual or a powerful organization. If they could find out, it would give them some peace of mind. Chapter 515. Gathering at Shirlian Mountain, but the snow lotus flowers on Shirlian Mountain are maturing. Won't those people go there? Are you really confident you can get it? Hua Rongrong expressed her worries, since the Xunmeng sect already knew the snow lotus flowers were about to mature. Other forces would surely be aware as well. If the top 10 talents on the Qianlong list also showed up, Hua Yinfeng would have almost no chance of obtaining the blood lotus flower. There's no need to worry about that. The top 10 on the Qianlong list have been called to the Luoman domain. As for Du Ming, who ranks 11th, he is no longer my opponent. Hua Yinfeng confidently replied. Du Ming was the one ranked just above Hua Yinfeng on the Qianlong list, and his strength was also at the 5th level of the Dominator realm. Hua Yinfeng's true strength was greater than Du Ming's. He simply felt there was no difference between the 11th and 12th ranks, so he didn't challenge Du Ming. Hua Yinfeng's goal was to be among the top 10 on the Qianlong list. That's good. It seems the blood lotus flower will definitely be yours, brother. Hua Rongrong said happily. Then she recalled something that had happened not long ago and seriously told Hua Yinfeng, brother, there's one more thing I need to tell you. I saw them in the chaotic mountains. Them? Hua Yinfeng asked, looking at Hua Rongrong with a confused expression. Chapter 516. The scheming Du Ming in the crowd. Jiang Feng and Qing Shui quietly communicated while watching the disciples of the Xunmeng sect not far away. Senior sister. That woman from the Xunmeng sect should be the one who placed the marker on Elder Gosheng, Jiang Feng said. Yes, I just marked them as well. As long as they are alone, we'll eliminate them, Qing Shui replied, her tone carrying a hint of ruthlessness. Anyone daring to plot against the Dao E sect must die. On the other side, Hua Rongrong was scanning the area. Under her long dress, a specially made bead was flashing. The flashing of this bead indicated that those people were nearby. Hua Rongrong carefully looked around, and suddenly her eyes lit up, a triumphant smile appearing on her face as her gaze landed on Jiang Feng and Qing Shui in the crowd. Brother, there are 2 people in crowd. They've come too, but they don't seem strong. Just at the undying realm, Hua Rongrong said to Hua Yinfeng, keeping her voice very low, so only he could hear. The adults have already decided to act themselves, so we shouldn't interfere. They are just 2 undying realm cultivators. If the opportunity arises, we can easily take care of them, Hua Yinfeng said dismissively. Hua Rongrong nodded and glanced at Jiang Feng and Qing Shui in the crowd, a hint of disdain curling her lips. Chapter 517. 17 entrances, the only accurate passage? Without hesitating for too long, Hua Yinfeng was the first to approach the cave entrance, disappearing into the vast depths amidst the onlookers. Let us go, follow me. The others eagerly followed, as if one more moment of delay would result in missing out on the treasure. Du Ming was the second to rush in, full of confidence, believing everything was under his control. Jiang Feng and Qing Shui, meanwhile, blended into the crowd, moving quietly as everyone entered the cave. Not long after Jiang Feng and Qing Shui entered the cave, they heard the sounds of blades clashing ahead, accompanied by screams. A battle was occurring up ahead. They both slowed their pace, allowing others to move ahead, while they moved to a secluded spot near the wall to observe the situation. Soon, they understood what was happening. The first to enter the cave, Hua Yinfeng, along with Du Ming, was effortlessly shattering the rushing puppets. These puppets ranged from the 7th level of the Undying Realm to the 2nd level of the Dominator Realm. Such strength was not considered strong in the eyes of Hua Yinfeng and the others, but their numbers were substantial. Moreover, behind Hua Yinfeng, there were many cultivators at the Undying Realm. Chapter 518. Qing Shui takes action, shocking everyone their movement. At this moment, Du Ming's ears twitched slightly as he turned to look back. Quick, hide. It should be the Xunmeng sect coming. Remember to follow my orders before taking action. Soon, all the disciples of the Chuan Yun Pavilion, including Du Ming, quickly found places to hide. After about 30 breaths, Du Ming and the others finally saw Hua Yinfeng appear. Brother, how did you know this entrance was the correct one? Hua Rongrong curiously asked, tugging on Hua Yinfeng's arm. The other disciples of the Xunmeng sect also looked at Hua Yinfeng with wide eyes, wanting to know what explanation he would provide. Hua Yinfeng grinned and said, it's simple. That paper bird is the key. It can sense the spatial fluctuations among the 17 entrances, and only this entrance is special. Hua Yunfeng's reasoning was similar to Du Ming's, and his approach was the same. Thus, the hopes of the others wanting to take advantage of the situation were thoroughly dashed. The entrance they had entered was entirely a dead end, and could not lead to where the blood lotus flower was located. Hearing this, Hua Rongrong proudly said, "Then Du Ming is foolish. He charged into the wrong entrance without any basis. How could he possibly compare to my brother?" Chapter 519. Elder of the Burning Heaven Sect. Once Du Ming spoke up, he was completely exposed. Hua Yunfeng and Hua Rongrong looked at him in confusion. "What are you doing here?" Hua Yunfeng couldn't help but ask. "I should be asking you. I heard everything you said about me just now. If it weren't for the current situation, I would have definitely killed you two dogs." Du Ming snapped to Hua Yunfeng and Hua Rongrong. Hua Yunfeng's face turned red. Being caught talking bad about someone behind their back made him feel very embarrassed. "Oh, you have some insight after all. Not bad, worth praising." Jiang Feng's voice came from the side, complimenting Du Ming. While Jiang Feng was praising him, he was also busy. He swiftly moved among the disciples of the Chuan Yun Pavilion, delivering a big gift package to each disciple he passed. In an instant, except for Du Ming, all the disciples of the Chuan Yun Pavilion fell to the ground. If it weren't for their faint breathing, Du Ming would have thought they were dead. After finishing all this, Jiang Feng looked at Hua Yunfeng and Hua Rongrong, threatening, "Next, I will ask questions and you will answer. If you answer correctly, there will be no rewards. If you answer incorrectly or intentionally answer wrong, the consequences will be." Chapter 520. Guardian Beast Golden Mouse Junior Brother. If Hua Yunfeng and the others, as elite disciples of the Shenmeng Sect, fall, the elders of the Shenmeng Sect will definitely know right away. They will come here to find out what happened. Although it's possible that by the time they arrive, we will have already left, and, with our strength, we are not afraid of them. It is still not wise to expose ourselves right now. Sister, what do you think we should do? First, let's seal their cultivation and put them in the treasure. Then after we get the blood lotus flower, we can just kill them. Qing Shui said, "Dan Dan." In her view, the Shenmeng Sect has already provoked the Daoyi Sect, so there is no need for them to survive. Therefore, Hua Yunfeng and Hua Rongrong must be killed, and furthermore, they will have to settle accounts with the Shenmeng Sect later. If they are to blame, they should blame themselves for obeying the orders of the Fengshen Sect and wanting to destroy the Daoyi Sect. What about them? Jiang Feng pointed at Du Ming and the disciples of the Chuan Yun Pavilion beside him. As for them, we want to kill them. We just need to erase the memory of what just happened from their minds. The disciples of the Chuan Yun Pavilion have no enmity with the Daoyi Sect, and Qing Shui does not intend to create more slaughter. As long as we erase Du Ming and the others' memories, they want to remember what just happened. Chapter 521. Obtaining the blood lotus flower, leaving Shirley Mountain. "No way." The golden-haired mouse said 2 words, thinking of explaining that the blood lotus flower belonged to its master. But as soon as it finished speaking, Jiang Feng moved. In an instant, Jiang Feng had teleported to the side of the golden-haired mouse and slammed down with great force. "I'm politely notifying you, not asking you." The golden-haired mouse's face changed drastically, instinctively wanting to retreat to avoid Jiang Feng's attack. Unfortunately, it underestimated Jiang Feng, thinking that since they were both at the 6th level of the Dominator realm, it was stronger than Jiang Feng because it was not an ordinary beast. When its back of the head suffered a heavy blow and its head buzzed, it finally realized that Jiang Feng was stronger than it had imagined. If it weren't for its tough physique, it would have passed out from just this hit. After Jiang Feng landed a successful strike, he did not continue attacking, but asked, "All right, hand over the blood lotus flower, otherwise it will be death." The golden-haired mouse rubbed its head, pretending not to understand, and said, "What? ISNT the blood lotus flower, right there? I'll just agree to you, take it away." Still daring to argue. It seems you really don't want to live. Seeing Jiang Feng about to attack again, filled with killing intent, the golden-haired mouse's heart sank, sensing that if it didn't come clean, it would really be beaten to death. Chapter 522. The guess of the old pavilion master of Chuan Yun Pavilion. It shouldn't be, right? Although Du Ming's ranking on the Qianlong list is 1 position higher than Hua Yunfeng, the strength between the two is not much different. Du Ming couldn't possibly kill Hua Yunfeng. You've analyzed it well. If it were really Du Ming who killed him, the elder of the Shenmeng Sect would not have gone to Shirley Mountain, but would have gone to Chuan Yun Pavilion to demand an explanation. Whatever, anyway, Hua Yunfeng is dead. Although we don't know who the murderer is, what does it have to do with us? Come, let us drink for 3 days and nights. Drink. I'm in a great mood now, so excited that I can't sleep. In the Chuanyan Pavilion, Du Ming naturally also received the news that Hua Yunfeng and his group were all killed. His heart sank as he thought of a possibility. There must have been a very powerful cultivator mixed into the team heading to Shirlian Mountain, and it was they who killed Hua Yunfeng. Moreover, the real blood lotus flower was also taken away by them, because just 2 days ago, he had retrieved the blood lotus flower, preparing to let his master assist him in refining it. But his master immediately saw that the blood lotus flower was fake. The real blood lotus flower's whereabouts are unknown, making him frustrated for an entire day. He originally thought that having obtained the blood lotus flower would allow him to challenge for the top spot on the Qianlong list. But now it's gone. The duck that was in hand has flown away. Chapter 523. Qing Shui breaks through. Chu Fan leads the team to Shenmeng Sect. A month later, Chu Fan came out of seclusion, or rather, returned. Because Chu Fan entered the Daoi Sect from outside the Chaos Mountain Range, not from the closed-off area. Master, weren't you in seclusion? Upon seeing Chu Fan appear, Qing Shui and the others hurriedly approached, curious to ask. Chu Fan said, I went out for a bit. As for what he did outside, Chu Fan did not say. Master, a month ago we caught a bad guy. He actually wanted to destroy us. Oh, someone is actually targeting us. Let us go take a look. At the top of Xianling Peak, Chu Fan began to search the soul of the nearly dying Yu Qingguang. Wanted to find out the answers. Yu Qingguang was terrified. At this moment, he sensed that Chu Fan's cultivation was in the mid-stage of the Hongmeng Tianzuan. This level of power was even stronger than the ancestor of the Fengshan Sect by a small rank. The ancestor of the Fengshan Sect was only in the early stage of Hongmeng Tianzuan, but was already one of the top experts in Xianli domain. How could this be? How could there be a Hongmeng Tianzuan level existence in the Chaos Mountain Range? What on earth did he want to do? For a moment, various questions flashed through Yu Qingguang's mind. The 4 ordinary regions of the Holy Realm are collectively referred to as the Chaos Land, and the top experts are merely Hongmeng controllers of the 7th level. As the weakest of the primordial domains, the strongest are only Hongmeng controllers of the 3rd level. Chapter 524. Arriving at Shenmeng Sect, striking to kill the sect master and elders of Shenmeng Sect. Chun Yi, the Fengshan Sect has encountered an unknown powerful enemy. Chun Shichuan said with a helpless expression, sighing. Upon hearing this, Chun Yi was slightly startled. Anyone who could be referred to as a powerful enemy by the ancestor must also be at the Hongmeng Tianzuan level. Ancestor, what should we do? Is that person in the primordial domain? Did Elder Yu Qingguang die at his hands? Yes, it's highly likely. In that case, you send a message to Elder Kunming, who is stationed in the Luoman domain, and let him go investigate the situation at the Shenmeng Sect in the primordial domain. Remember to remind him to investigate quietly and not to expose his identity. Yes, ancestor. After saying this, Chunyi left Qin Shichuan's cave and issued orders to Elder Kunming, who was far away in the Luoman domain. After Chunyi left, Qin Shichuan took out the red leaves from a box and placed them into his spatial ring, quickly leaving the Fengshan Sect. Such a big incident has occurred. He must make some preparations. He can only hope that this impending calamity can be resolved. At the Shenmeng Sect in the primordial domain at this time, the 5 elders sent to the Chaos Mountain Range had already returned. They sat in the main hall with gloomy expressions, and the sect master, Hu Miaofeng, who had just rushed back from the primordial domain, was in the hall. Chapter 525. Shenmeng Sect is destroyed. Various speculations. In the back mountain of the Shenmeng Sect, the strongest ancestor, Huang Mingxi, heard the sound of explosions and was about to exit his seclusion to see what had happened when he saw a handsome young man in white land in front of him. Who are you? Huang Mingxi asked. The one who will kill you. After saying this, Chu Fan raised his hand, and with a grasp in the air, Huang Mingxi felt an invisible big hand gripping his neck, lifting him continuously into the air. You want? Huang Mingxi was choked by the grip and wanted to speak but couldn't make a sound. Just as he was about to unleash his 2nd-level Hongmeng controller cultivation, he found that he couldn't use any strength. He had been severely suppressed by the young man in white before him, including his cultivation being sealed. The young man in white had extremely strong power. If you want to blame someone, blame yourselves for being the dogs of the Fengshan Sect. Chu Fan sighed lightly and suddenly exerted force. With a painful scream from Huang Mingxi, he was slowly melting away, intense pain surging in his heart. In just 3 breaths, only a complete Dao fruit remained floating in midair, and Huang Mingxi was dead beyond recovery. Chu Fan put away the Dao fruit and nodded in satisfaction. On this trip, he had obtained 2 Dao fruits. Although their level was not high, they could still help Jiang Feng and Ling Qingxian step into the realm of half-step Hongmeng controllers and cultivate the Hongmeng body. Chapter 526. Song Qingyuan's exit from seclusion. Qingxue's breakthrough in the end, Guru Yun and the others could not come to a conclusion, so they had to give up. What they could do was to advise the elders and disciples of the sect to be vigilant in the coming days and to be prepared for unexpected situations. After returning to her cultivation residence, Guru Yun took out a communication jade slip and connected with the ancestor of the Starry Sky sect, Yu Qingxiu. They had been friends for many years, and Guru Yun suspected that the murderer might be related to Song Qingyuan, which was why she alerted Yu Qingxiu. Old Yu, have you found anything regarding the Divine Dream sect? We have no results yet. The murderer has erased all traces, and we really cannot find out who it is. We are quite troubled. I have a suspicion that the murderer is very likely Song Qingyuan. He must have found helpers in return for revenge. So you need to be cautious. Thank you, old Gu. I will remind them, and we can gather again when we have time. In the forbidden area of the back mountain of the Starry Sky sect, an old man with white hair had a serious expression. He was Yu Qingxiu, the ancestor of the Starry Sky sect, whose strength had reached the 3rd level of Hongmeng controllers. After cutting off the conversation with Guru Yun, Yu Qingxiu called for the sect master, Yang Jifei. Ancestor, you called for me? Yang Jifei, dressed in a purple robe, respectfully bowed to Yu Qingxiu. Chapter 527. Qingxue's confusion. Song Qingyuan's visit Qingxue was very happy. She never expected a break through to the realm of Hongmeng controllers in such a short time. According to her own estimation, it would take at least 10 years to cultivate the Hongmeng body to perfection, let alone break through to the realm of Hongmeng controllers. This was already an incredibly fast speed. For cultivators in the Holy Realm, it would take at least tens of thousands of years to break through from the 9th level of the Dominator realm to the realm of Hongmeng controllers. Those who could break through to the realm of Hongmeng controllers were all exceptionally talented, yet still needed tens of thousands of years to hone their skills. If they knew that Qingxue believed she could break through to the realm of Hongmeng controllers within 100 years, they would surely be stunned and exclaim in unison, "Is that even possible?" But the reality was that Qingxue took less than a month to break through from half-step Hongmeng controller to Hongmeng controller. If this news were to spread, even those Hongmeng heavenly lords would come to watch. The reason for this was entirely because during her cultivation, the longevity technique suddenly reacted, completely out of her control, and began to operate on its own. At first, Qingxue thought it was an accident, but after a while, she realized her strength was increasing at a visibly rapid pace, almost changing every day. Chapter 528. Song Qingyuan's revenge in response to Song Qingyuan's warm greeting. The blue bird did not rush to respond. It was no longer a solitary bird, and it needed to see what Qingxue and the others meant before deciding what to do. Master Qingxue, how do you plan to handle this? Qingxue glanced at the blue bird and then at the white marten in Song Qingyuan's hand. She knew the blue bird loved to eat white martens the most. So, she spoke up, you can leave the white marten behind, and then you can go. To be honest, if the blue bird hadn't said that Song Qingyuan had no ill intentions, Qingxue would have already moved to drive him away. The Dao One sect only welcomed friends, not strangers. Who could know if the stranger might have other intentions that could bring harm to the Dao One sect? Right now, the Dao One sect was not that strong, so everything had to be cautious. Just like last time, Elder Guosheng was inexplicably marked, and thankfully the enemy was not strong enough. Otherwise, it was hard to imagine what would have happened. Song Qingyuan did not mind. He also knew that this was likely the sect of the few people in front of him. He had come uninvited and shouted outside their sect's door, and the fact that they had not directly attacked him was already quite courteous. He took out all the white martens from his space ring and tossed them to the blue bird. I know you like to eat white martens, so I specially caught some for you on the way here as a token of thanks. Chapter 529. Song Qingyuan's request to join Dao One sect's son. Something happened at the Shifang courtyard. You absolutely must not leave the sect before Song Qingyuan is caught. Do you understand? Young Jifi earnestly advised his son, young Yuanjun. Yang Yuanjun was his beloved son, exceptionally talented, young and promising, already designated as the next sect master of the Starry Sky sect. From a start, he had devoted all resources to cultivate Yang Yuanjun, spending countless efforts to help him grow and stand out. If you're targeted by Song Qingyuan, it would really be a disaster. Dad, has he really shown up? Yang Yuanjun asked in disbelief. He clearly remembered the events of that year. Song Qingyuan had crushed several geniuses on the potential dragon ranking, including him. At that time, Song Qingyuan had defeated him in just 2 moves, and he hadn't even touched the hem of Song Qingyuan's clothes. This was a huge blow to his usual pride, and he had been unable to accept this fact ever since. Why should a loose cultivator be able to step on him? He had no resources and no background. In this world, if one had no background, they would eventually be eliminated. Therefore, when he heard that Song Qingyuan was surrounded and attacked by his father and other sect masters and was severely injured and disappeared in the chaotic mountains, Yang Yuanjun even hoped that Song Qingyuan would die in the chaotic mountains. Chapter 530. Song Qingyuan's Request. The yellow-robed elder, when Hua Wanqing, Song Qingyuan, and the blue bird arrived at the foot of Xianling Peak. Song Qingyuan had already become familiar with Hua Wanqing, calling her senior sister repeatedly. Finally, Hua Wanqing assigned the task of the gatekeeper disciple to Song Qingyuan, junior brother Song. This position was originally senior brother Jiangfeng's, but now senior brother Jiangfeng is in seclusion. Once they come out, I will introduce you to him. Thank you, senior sister, Song Qingyuan said gratefully. Through his understanding, he learned that his master, Chu Fan, had 5 disciples. Besides the current Hua Wanqing and Qingxue he had met last time, there were also senior brother Bai Ziyue and senior brother Jiangfeng and senior sister Ling Qingxian, who were in seclusion, and he was still just a registered disciple. By the way, senior sister, I have a request. I would like to spar with you. Don't worry. I will suppress my cultivation to the 1st level of the Dominator realm. The reason Song Qingyuan made this request was actually to let Hua Wanqing understand his strength through sparring. At the same time, it was also to prove that he was definitely not someone who relied on others. He was strong too. As soon as he finished speaking, Hua Wanqing showed a strange expression, looking at Song Qingyuan. Junior brother Song, are you sure? You haven't burnt your brain, have you? Chapter 531. The Bone Demon World. The origin of the Hongmeng source branch. This discovery truly shocked Song Qingyuan immensely. Senior sister Qingxue looked quite young. She probably hadn't even reached 50,000 years of age, yet she had already attained a realm of Hongmeng controllers. It should be noted that the potential dragon ranking of the origin domain only included geniuses under the age of 100,000. Anyone over that age was not counted in statistics. Among the top 10 on the potential dragon ranking, the youngest genius, Dao Wujie, was already close to 90,000 years old. Comparing this, no, it can't even be compared. Senior sister Qingxue is already in a different league from them. If we are to compare, it should be with the prodigies from the Xinli domain, Qianquan domain, or even the Supreme domain. Junior brother Song, right? You just started and haven't practiced the core techniques yet. Come, let me teach you. Qingxue smiled and greeted Song Qingyuan, pointing to his forehead to pass on the method for concealing his cultivation level. Song Qingyuan, who is also exceptionally talented, quickly comprehended it as concealment technique is easy to learn. With just a couple of hours of practice, he would fully grasp its essence. At this point, he realized that his senior brothers and sisters had also practiced the concealment technique to hide their cultivation levels. After concealing their levels, even the powerful beings at the level of the primordial controller could not detect them. Chapter 532. The competition is about to begin. Gathering in the barbarian domain 2 months later, with Chu Fan's help, Song Qingyuan's strength had reached the 9th level of the ruler realm. His rapid improvement was entirely thanks to the 7th level inheritance of the primordial controller he obtained in his early years. Previously, he was a loose cultivator, self-exploring in his cultivation, and had not thoroughly understood many profound issues. With Chu Fan's assistance, he finally comprehended everything, and his cultivation level directly rose. Song Qingyuan couldn't help but marvel. Indeed, he was not mistaken about his master. This ability, comparable to turning decay into wonder, allowed him to witness the terrifying power of the primordial heavenly sovereign. He also felt fortunate that he had not joined other sects back then. Otherwise, he would have truly missed this opportunity. Today is the day to depart for the barbarian domain. In front of Chu Fan, Qingxue, Hua Wanqing, Bai Ziyue, and Song Qingyuan stood neatly, along with the idol Qingyao. Qingxue is now a 1st-level primordial controller, while Hua Wanqing and Bai Ziyue are at the peak of the 9th level of the ruler realm. Song Qingyuan is weaker, having just broken through to the 9th level of the ruler realm. The 4 of them had concealed their cultivation levels early on, only revealing a 2nd level of the ruler realm. The reason for this was, of course, to comply with the regulations of the Bone Demon World competition. Chapter 533. Entering the Bone Demon World, representatives of powerful regions soon. Half a month passed, and the day for the Bone Demon World to open arrived. Whether it was the forces participating in the competition or those who were not qualified, everyone flew toward the Bone Demon World in unison. In an instant, the sky over the barbarian domain was filled with a dark mass. The Bone Demon World is located in a well-known mountain range in the barbarian domain, called the Wulong Mountain Range. The formation of the Bone Demon World is not a secret. It is a naturally formed small world that has developed countless bone demons over an unknown period. Due to the spatial rules of the Holy Realm, universes created above the primordial controller level cannot be sustained. So the only small worlds that can exist in the Holy Realm are those that are naturally formed or crafted by beings of heavenly sovereign level or above. Naturally formed small worlds resonate with the Holy Realm space and are not subject to suppression, while small worlds created by heavenly sovereign level beings need regular maintenance. Otherwise, they will shatter and be destroyed. Initially, people thought the Bone Demon World contained treasures and rushed in to seek them. However, they soon discovered that apart from the endless bone demons, there was nothing at all. It was truly a barren little world. Chapter 534. The love story of Lu Mingji and Fu Hongying as the prodigies participating in the competition entered the Bone Demon World one after another. Sima Wenqi, the leader of the Tianwu sect, and Tang Xian, the leader of the Wanxiang sect, wore confident smiles. As the top sects in the barbarian domain, the talents like Sima Jun of the Tianwu sect and O Yuanming of the Wanxiang sect had the strength to easily defeat most of the people present. For instance, Sima Jun was known as one of the strongest prodigies in the chaotic land, along with Wu Lanlan of the Nixia sect and Xiao Yan of the Yuanmi sect, because the three of them had reached the half-step primordial controller realm at under 100,000 years of age, leaving others far behind. These three were also the most likely to secure a spot in the top 3 of the competition and possibly become disciples of the primordial heavenly sovereign. In midair, representatives of powerful regions from the Xianli domain and Qingquan domain looked down at the crowd and began to converse. There were 13 powerful figures, 10 men and 3 women, all of whom were the leaders of supreme forces. The condition to be called a supreme force in the Xianli and Qingquan domains is that there must be a heavenly sovereign level figure presiding over the sect. Is the leader of the Nixia sect, Wu Lanlan, someone you have your eye on? A handsome middle-aged man smiled and asked the red-clad woman beside him. Chapter 535. Xianyu sect gets eliminated. Initial scores released. This group of people wore matching outfits, indicating they were from the same force. They totaled 5 people, the strongest being 2 at the 4th level of the ruler realm, 1 at the 3rd level, and 2 at the 2nd level. At this moment, the 5 were smug, with wicked smiles, arms crossed, shaking their legs, looking down on Qing Shiyue and the others with condescending eyes. They were from the Xianyu sect. Song Qingyuan recognized their identity. "Oh kid, I didn't expect you to be quite clever." "No, we are from the Xianyu sect," the tall, thin man at the forefront said, slightly surprised. "Are you here to rob us?" "Unfortunately, we didn't bring any treasures. Otherwise, would you like to come back to our sect to get them after the competition?" Bai Ziyue asked teasingly. The Xianyu sect members were not fools. They understood the implication and did not waste words, immediately taking action. Their goal was merely to eliminate some weaker cultivators in advance. As for why they did this, it was naturally under someone else's instruction. "Senior sister, senior brothers, let me handle this." Seeing the 2 4th-level ruler realm men attacking, Song Qingyuan stepped forward and said to Qing Shiyue and the others, "Just a few ants. I can easily handle them alone." Upon seeing Song Qingyuan step forward, the 2 men sneered disdainfully. Chapter 536. Claiming the top spot. Speculations arise just as Chu Fan finished speaking. An incredibly bright golden light suddenly erupted from the curtain. This change caused even the 13 leaders of supreme forces secretly observing the ranking changes to widen their eyes, fixating on the top position. They were well aware that such a change in the curtain could only mean one thing. A prodigy had achieved an exceptionally outstanding result. The prodigy set to appear at the top would surpass Sima Jun, Wu Lanlan, and Xiao Yan to claim the first position. Soon, the light faded, and a strange name suddenly appeared, pushing Sima Jun and others down the rankings and occupying the top spot. Qing Shiyue, 20,000 points, Xiantian sect. Looking at the outstanding score, everyone present almost dropped their jaws, momentarily at a loss for how to express their feelings. Surprise, choc, confusion. Who exactly is this prodigy named Qing Shiyue? And what has she done to obtain 20,000 points in such a short time? It should be noted that a half-step primordial controller level bone demon is only worth 10,000 points. Could it be that Qing Xue killed 2 half-step primordial controller level bone demons during this time? Chapter 537. The Xintian sect is investigated. Gu Shixue believes this for a reason. The founder of the Piaoxue divine sect, Piaoling Tianzuan, is the first mid-stage Hongmeng Tianzuan in the Qian Kuan domain, and those who came later are all her juniors. Furthermore, Piaoling Tianzuan's sister married the master of the Bingji Xingong, one of the top forces in the supreme domain, second only to the Tiandian and the Jizuan Hall. With this relationship, the Piaoxue divine sect is flourishing in the Qian Kuan domain, with many forces kneeling to become vassals. However, many of them were rejected by the proud Gu Shixue. She believes that, given the status of the Piaoxue divine sect, those sects seeking to become vassals are simply unworthy. Since Sister Shixue favors Qingxue and Hua Wanqing, then I will choose by Ziyue and Songli. Although there are many women in the Lihua Sacred Hall, we can also accept male disciples, said Qi Qianlan, the master of the Lihua Sacred Hall, twisting her waist as she spoke. The strength and talent of these 4 prodigies are beyond doubt, and I will also compete for them. Jiang Giki, the master of the Qinxin sect, continued, expressing his interest in Bai Ziyue. You think too highly of yourself. There are a total of 13 forces here, and only 4 prodigies. Who will ultimately win is still uncertain. Let's wait and see, said Yu Kongsheng, the master of the Xianming Sacred Hall, in a sharp voice. Chapter 538. Basic skills not to be underestimated. Point Soar, Bone Demon King Strike Back Sister. Your speed is so fast. If others find out, what will they think? Song Qingyuan exclaimed, genuinely envious of Qingshue's ability to kill 20 bone demons of the 7th level and above in one move. Qingshue's expression was calm as she brushed her hair and said, basic skills not to be underestimated. Song Qingyuan? Sister, what does basic skills not to be underestimated mean? I don't understand. Oh, that's what the master taught me. It means that my ability to kill these bone demons is just basic operation. After all, my strength is here. So don't be too amazed, Qingxue explained. Song Qingyuan nodded in understanding, repeatedly murmuring basic skills not to be underestimated. Then, Qingxue and the others continued forward, boldly expanding their divine sense to search for the traces of the bone demons. Meanwhile, other prodigies were still on the outskirts of the bone demon forest, hunting down those immortal and first-level bone demons in groups. Stronger prodigies like Sima Jun and Wu Lanlan were currently engaged in battle in the middle of the bone demon forest. Sima Jun, dressed in blue, wielded a sword that emitted a blue light, weaving through a group of bone demons at the 4th and 5th levels of dominance. Chapter 539. Drastic changes in the core area of the bone demon forest the moment the formation was activated. All the prodigies in the core of the bone demon forest felt that the surrounding air had changed. The originally clear sky turned dark, and a killing intent filled the lush greenery. What happened? Why do I feel a sense of crisis? We must have fallen into a trap, right? Sigh, I give up. So far, I've only got about 100 points. I probably won't get any ranking. After saying this, the prodigy took out a bead and crushed it. He decided to give up the competition, as the surrounding atmosphere of impending doom made him extremely uneasy, as if something major was about to happen. However, after crushing the bead, he did not leave the bone demon world like the prodigies who had exited early. How can this be? I can't get out? Fear surged in his heart, and cold sweat soaked his back. Before he could ascertain the situation, countless bone demons appeared from all directions. Most of those bone demons were at the 8th and 9th levels of dominance. Yet, this prodigy was only at the 7th level of dominance. He had merely wanted to test his luck at the outermost edge of the core area. After all, bone demons above the 8th level rarely appeared here, and as long as he was cautious, he wouldn't encounter much danger. Chapter 540. The battle against bone demons. Confident Sima Jun, so terrifying. Lu Mingji's eyes widened in shock. The first place, Qingxue, reached 170,000 points in such a short time, while the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th places each had 160,000. Sima Jun and Wu Lanlan, in 5th place, had just crossed 30,000 points. This represents a significant gap. I remember that the highest record in previous competitions was 380,000 points. It's not even been a day, and the top 4 are already close to half of the highest record. It's clear that a new record will emerge. It seems that Bai Ziyue and Song Li could be contenders for the ancestors' favor, Lu Jiming murmured. The main reason he did not choose Qing Xue and Hua Wanqing was that both were female, and his close friend Fu Hongying specifically wanted to recruit them into the Shenin Pavilion. So he had to choose Bai Ziyue and Song Li, both of whom were performing excellently. On the other side, the Qingyao heard about the drastic changes in the Bone Demon Forest and worriedly asked, Lord Chu, will Lord Qing Xue and the others be all right? I heard that several prodigies have died inside. Chu Fan replied flatly, no need to worry. Just look at the changes in the points ranking, and you'll know. They're probably having a thrilling time now. Chapter 541. Wu Lanlan's thoughts after killing several batches of Bone Demon armies. Sima Jun, Wu Lanlan, Xiao Yin, and some other strong prodigies found a relatively safe place to rest. The Bone Demon army did not appear again, giving them a moment to catch their breath. Initially, these prodigies worked alone, but as the number of Bone Demons increased, they formed a temporary alliance for survival. When cooperating to kill the Bone Demon armies, they agreed that whoever killed the Bone Demon could collect its flame and could not steal each other's achievements. Each of these prodigies was at least at the 8th level of dominance and had their own pride. Even without saying it, they wouldn't stoop to stealing flames from others. If this got out, they would lose face. Thus, aside from Sima Jun and his group, prodigies like Oyi Wenming from the Wuxiang Sect, Li Yongqin from the Yunus Sect, and Jian Yang from the Canglong Sect also did not lag far behind, all breaking through the 100,000 points mark. Their high scores were entirely due to the overwhelming number of Bone Demon armies that appeared this time. They were getting more and more excited, watching their points surge in the beads, almost forgetting their fatigue. Chapter 542. Points ranking revealed, prodigies' performances, seeing Wu Lanlan announce her points. Xiao Yin spoke up. I'm not far behind my friend Wu Lanlan. My current points are 167,000. As soon as he finished speaking, Wu Lanlan immediately turned her head. Her eyes filled with provocation. Just 1,000 points apart? Your strength cannot be underestimated. Let's compete then. Wu Lanlan believed that the only competitor she had was Sima Jun. Little did she know that Xiao Yin, standing before her, was equally outstanding and could match her. Xiao Yin was also a formidable opponent, and her pressure intensified. Then let's wait and see. Xiao Yin didn't say much, and when he spoke these words, he was already locking eyes with Sima Jun. Sima Jun had always been the target Xiao Yin wanted to surpass. As for Wu Lanlan, although her strength was also formidable, she was a woman. Xiao Yin looked down on fighting with women. His ideal was to take first place in this competition forcefully, letting other forces see that he was indeed the #1 talent in the chaotic land. Xiao Yin was full of confidence because he had a powerful trump card, one that was enough to eliminate a Bone Demon King at the half-step Hongmeng controller level in an instant. By then, with 100,000 points in hand, he could widen the gap between himself and Sima Jun. Chapter 543. The arrival of the Qinshin Heavenly Venerable in the Wulong mountain range. After waiting for more than 10 days, suddenly, there was a loud rumble in the sky, and a middle-aged man appeared high in the air. He was dressed simply in gray linen, stood over 8 feet tall, had a square face, and while not particularly handsome, he exuded a unique aura. He quietly hovered in the air, without any movement, yet managed to attract everyone's attention. As soon as the gray-clad man appeared, the 13 hidden leaders of the supreme forces emerged, coming before him to respectfully salute. We have seen the Qinshin Heavenly Venerable. The gray-clad man was indeed the early-stage Hongmeng Heavenly Venerable of the Qinshin Sect, named Fan Zhengsu, known as the Qinshin Heavenly Venerable. The Qinshin Heavenly Venerable had a blank expression as he waved his hand to the sect leaders before him, saying, "You all can go about your business. I have come merely to check on the situation in the Bone Demon world." After speaking, the Qinshin Heavenly Venerable flashed and appeared in front of Sima Chao. At that moment, Sima Chao and the others were already kneeling on the ground. The arrival of the Hongmeng Heavenly Venerable eased their tense hearts. The Qinshin Heavenly Venerable casually glanced around, and, upon seeing a young man in white and a blue bird not far away who did not kneel like the others, narrowed his eyes slightly and then turned to look at the curtain. Chapter 544. Slaying the Bone Demon King. Decayed branches seeing the 2 Bone Demons at half-step Hongmeng controller level launch an attack. Qing Shue's expression hardened, and she raised her hand to strike fiercely. From her delicate palm, a green spiritual energy hand surged out instantly, warping the space it passed through and emitting a sizzling sound. Boom! The spiritual energy hand shattered the Bone Demon's attack, its momentum undiminished as it continued to strike towards their bodies. The purple golden flames in the eyes of the two bone demons flickered rapidly, and they hurriedly crossed their bony arms in front of their foreheads, attempting to block Qing Shui's spiritual energy hand, with a swish like flowing water washing away. At the moment of contact between the spiritual energy hand and the two bone demons' bodies, they melted away instantly. They did not even have time to scream, their entire bony forms turning to dust. Only two clusters of purple golden flames remained suspended. Watching from behind, Hua Wanqing and the others had their eyes glimmering with astonishment at Qing Shui's attack. Sister must have used over 50% of her power. She eliminated them in an instant. I'm so envious. I want to break through to the Hongmeng controller level as soon as possible. This is truly too strong. With the demise of the two bone demons, the Bone Demon King, who was in the process of advancing, suddenly looked up, the flames in its eyes burning fiercely. Chapter 545. The competition ends early. Qinshin Heavenly Venerable takes disciples soon. These talents discovered the source of the earthquake in the core area. Because no bone demons had been seen in the entire core area, they boldly flew in the air. Aside from Sima Jun, Wu Lanlan, and Xiao Yin, whose whereabouts were unknown, the remaining 14 talents who entered the Bone Demon Forest core area gathered once more. Before them was a massive pit that had collapsed. The cave where the Bone Demon King resided had been buried under countless rubble. The liquid in the pool had turned to gas and dissipated, causing irreversible changes in the entire Bone Demon world. The Bone Demons had all disappeared. At that moment, the skeletal net covering the sky in the core area lost its power support and shattered into countless pieces, falling from the sky. The oppressive atmosphere also dissipated instantly. I sensed it. There must have been a great battle here. That talent named Qing Shui successfully killed the Bone Demon King, exclaimed Kang Longman's talent Jianyang, his face filled with shock. One Bone Demon King is worth 100,000 points. She suddenly gained 600,000. Did she kill 6 Bone Demon Kings? What kind of terrifying figure is this, simultaneously slaying 6 Bone Demon Kings at the half-step Hongmeng controller level? Can Sima Jun do that? This Qing Shui truly deserves to be number 1. I concede. Chapter 546. Competing for disciples. The award ceremony begins, Your Excellency. You can't take all 4 talents for yourself. At least give a Sect some face. Gu Shishue was the first to jump out and say. Behind her stood the Piaoling Heavenly Venerable, whose strength was far greater than that of the Qinshin Heavenly Venerable. After all, the Qinshin Heavenly Venerable had only broken through to the Hongmeng Heavenly Venerable level 50,000 years ago and was still in the early stage of that realm. The Piaoling Heavenly Venerable of their Piaoxue Divine Sect was different. He was the oldest Hongmeng Heavenly Venerable in the Qiankuan domain and currently the strongest Heavenly Venerable. Usually, Gu Shishue would give face to the Hongmeng Heavenly Venerables, but now, as it was a crucial matter of selecting disciples, with the Piaoling Heavenly Venerable as her backing, she could confront the Qinshin Heavenly Venerable directly. After all, the Qinshin Heavenly Venerable couldn't do anything to her. After all, his actions were inherently unreasonable. The Qinshin Heavenly Venerable's expression changed slightly, his big square face turning from a smile to a dark scowl. Then tell me, with your strength, what can you teach them? Your Excellency, how about this? I only want Qing Shui and Hua Wanqing. After all, our Piaoxue Divine Sect only accepts female disciples. We won't compete for Bai Ziyue and Song Li, how about that? Chapter 547. Refusing to join Sima Jun's sudden intervention made everyone feel that he couldn't accept defeat. Sima Chao on the stage had a gloomy expression, as if he could drip water from it, glaring at Sima Jun to hurry up and shut up. Not to cause trouble, Sima Wenqi beside him quickly pulled Sima Jun back, preventing him from stepping onto the platform. Look at them. They are only at the 2nd level of the Dominator realm. How could they have obtained so many points? They must have used some means. Sima Jun was pulled but still shouted out his unwillingness. Sima Chao directly transmitted his voice, instructing Sima Wenqi to knock Sima Jun unconscious, which finally silenced him. Sima Chao was furious at Sima Jun. Usually, he seemed quite clever, but how could he ask such a foolish question at this moment? The Bone Demon world had been refined by numerous Heavenly Venerables. From the first competition until now, there had never been any mistakes, and it had always been fair and just. Now, suddenly raising this question was clearly intended to slap those Heavenly Venerables in the face. If those Heavenly Venerables heard this and took offense, the Tianwu sect wouldn't be able to bear their wrath. Moreover, it was obvious that Qing Shui and the others were hiding their true realms. Their actual strength should be at the half-step Hongmeng controller level. Chapter 548. Wounding the Qinshin Heavenly Venerable with one move. As soon as these words were spoken, the entire venue fell silent. Everyone knew that the Qinshin Heavenly Venerable was genuinely angry. The wrath of a Heavenly Venerable needed to be appeased with blood. On the platform, Qing Shue and the other three appeared calm, showing no signs of fear. Jiang Feng even rolled his eyes, thinking anyone could talk big. At that moment, Chu Fan's figure suddenly appeared in front of Qing Shue, shielding them behind him. What a ruthless method from the Qinshin Heavenly Sovereign. My disciple does not wish to take you as a master, and you resort to such cruel tactics? Beside them, Fu Hongying and the others were also puzzled by the Qinshin Heavenly Sovereign's actions. Taking a disciple should be a mutually agreeable affair. How did it turn into a confrontation? Furthermore, even if you kill the original masters of these prodigies, will they genuinely turn to you as their master? Aren't you afraid that these prodigies will endure humiliation, achieve success, and then seek revenge? As a cunning strategist, the Qinshin Heavenly Sovereign should understand this better than they do. Something is off. This Qinshin Heavenly Sovereign has ulterior motives. Facing Chu Fan's questioning, the Qinshin Heavenly Sovereign scoffed. You must be their master. Very good. Saying this, the Qinshin Heavenly Sovereign acted without hesitation, instantly striking towards Chu Fan's head. Chapter 549. Chun Shichuan seeks help from the drifting Heavenly Sovereign. Hearing that this seemingly ordinary branch had such terrifying effects, Qing Shue was completely shocked. Fortunately, she had found this decayed branch strange back then. Otherwise, she would have missed this supreme treasure. Master, do you know the whereabouts of other Hongmeng origin branches? Chu Fan shook his head, saying that there was currently no information on other Hongmeng origin branches, and it would depend on whether the opportunity arose. Although there was no information on the Hongmeng origin branches, Chu Fan speculated that the two major forces, the Heavenly Hall and the Supreme Hall, should have one or two. However, with his current strength, he was not yet capable of contending with the Heavenly Hall and the Supreme Hall. It would be better to develop quietly for now and visit these two forces only when he was completely confident. As Hua Wanjing and others entered closed-door cultivation to break through their realms, the Daoyi sect once again entered a developmental phase, hiding deep within the chaotic mountains. Unknown to outsiders. Outside, discussions about the Xintian sect were still fervent. In the Xinli domain's Finchen sect, the sect master Chun Yi had returned, and after anxiously waiting for 3 days, the Qingfeng Heavenly Sovereign Chun Shichuan finally appeared. Chun Shichuan looked somewhat dejected. It seemed that the travels of the past few months had not gone as expected. Chapter 550. 10 years' time, breakthrough completed, system upgrade successful. You must have heard, right? In the Wumon Domain's Bone Demon World competition, a mysterious sect called the Xintian sect appeared. I suspect they are outsiders. Years ago, a fortune teller told me that the Finchen sect would face a calamity. The drifting Heavenly Sovereign responded. Are you saying that the Xintian sect will pose a threat to the Finchen sect? That's exactly what I mean. Then, there was a moment of silence. After a while, the drifting Heavenly Sovereign continued, Chun Shichuan, let's put our matters aside for now. As for your relationship with the Xintian sect, I do not intend to intervene. Good luck. After saying this, the drifting Heavenly Sovereign actively cut off the contact, leaving Chun Shichuan staring blankly at the now inactive communication token. How could this happen? We were just having a good conversation, and then suddenly she changed her mind. Chun Shichuan's mood plummeted. He didn't understand why the drifting Heavenly Sovereign's attitude changed completely upon hearing about the Xintian sect. Did she know something about the Xintian sect? Chun Shichuan murmured. Then, he tried to reconnect using the communication token, but found it failed. The drifting Heavenly Sovereign had destroyed her communication token. Chun Shichuan was furious. Everything was going wrong, pushing his emotions to the brink. Chapter 551. Heading to the Finchen sect after experiencing the Hongmeng Supreme Realm, Chu Fan continued to open the Ultimate Gift Pack. Ultimate Gift Pack opened, gain 1 experience in the Ultimate Realm of Transformation and Freedom, valid for 2 hours. This Ultimate Realm experience, if activated at a critical moment in conjunction with the Hongmeng Origin Branch, can increase the chance of breaking through to the Transformation and Freedom Realm. Transformation and Freedom Realm? The Transformation and Freedom Realm is the strongest in the Sacred Realm. After reaching this realm, one can transcend the Sacred Realm, becoming immortal and indestructible. In the past, present, or future, the Master can be everywhere and nowhere. Everything is determined by the Master's consciousness. Has anyone ever reached this realm? Never. Including the Master, currently, There are only 5 Hongmeng supreme realms in the entire sacred realm. As for the transformation and freedom realm, no one has achieved it yet. The master has the highest chance of reaching this realm. Hearing this, Chu Fan nodded. Now, he was already in the early stage of the Hongmeng supreme realm, and he was not far from reaching the perfection of the supreme realm. He only needed to collect the Hongmeng origin branches. At that time, with the help of the Hongmeng origin branches, he could challenge the transformation and freedom realm. Once he successfully breaks through, everything in the world will be within reach, allowing him to roam freely. Chapter 552. Destroying the Finchen, Sect the 4th one? System. Didn't you say I was the 5th Hongmeng Supreme Realm? Hearing the discussions below, Chu Fan asked in confusion. That's because one Hongmeng Supreme Realm erased all traces of themselves. Not many know of their existence. I see. With the means of the Hongmeng Supreme Realm, it is indeed possible to do so if one is willing to spend some time. The next day, Chu Fan saw an elder in the early stage of the Hongmeng Heavenly Sovereign flying from afar, who swiftly entered the Finchen sect. Qingfeng Heavenly Sovereign, Chun Shichuan, has returned early. A smirk appeared on Chu Fan's face, knowing that the show was about to begin. His figure vanished from the tavern, and when he reappeared, he was already at the Finchen sect. The formations he had set up lit up in an instant, enveloping the vast Finchen sect entirely. Once the formations were activated, nothing happening inside the Finchen sect could be seen from the outside. The trap was set. It was time to strike. Meanwhile, Qingfeng Heavenly Sovereign Chen Shichuan, upon returning to the Finchen sect, immediately summoned Chun Yi and the elders of the Finchen sect. 2 days prior, Chen Shichuan had suddenly received a message from the fortune teller, urging him to return to the Finchen sect quickly, as there was trouble brewing. Chen Shichuan did not doubt the fortune teller's words and hurried back without delay. Chapter 553. Controlling Qiu Riyun soon, after the news reached the Supreme Domain Supreme Hall. An elder from the Supreme Hall arrived at the Finchen sect. This elder, named Qiu Riyun, was at the perfect level of the Hongmeng Heavenly Sovereign and was the 3rd elder of the inner sect of the Supreme Hall. He wore a gray robe with golden thread at the cuffs, and a lotus emblem of the Supreme Hall was displayed on his chest. Behind Qiu Riyun were 8 disciples of the Supreme Hall, who were also his students, 5 males and 3 females. Master, the one who is destroying the Finchen sect, is very strong. A female disciple remarked, gazing at the scorched earth. Senior sister, no matter how strong he is, can he be stronger than our Supreme Hall? Another disciple scoffed. In his view, in the entire sacred realm, the only force that could rival the Supreme Hall was the Heavenly Hall. In terms of individuals, none had appeared yet and were unlikely to appear. Qiu Riyun waved his hand to stop the disciples' discussion and began to use his eye technique to trace back time. He caught a glimpse of a thread of the primordial source of time, allowing him to revisit the past and make past events reappear. This is also why the Supreme wanted to send him to investigate. In his sight, the scene of the Burning Sky sect began to change. Chapter 554. Encountering the wandering Heavenly Sovereign before the Qingkuan Cave. Ding, the sign-in locations have been refreshed. There are 3 locations available for sign-in. Please choose Master. First location, Supreme Domain's 9 Dragon Abyss. Rescue the trapped Ancestor Dragon and complete the sign-in. Second location, Qingkuan Domain's Qingkuan Cave. Rescue the 7 trapped primordial Heavenly Sovereigns and have them acknowledge their master. Third location, Supreme Domain's Heavenly Palace Ancestral Land. Reward unknown. After leaving the Burning Sky sect, Chu Fan looked at the sign-in locations provided by the system and fell into deep thought. Among these 3 locations, it was obvious that the Heavenly Palace Ancestral Land should be the most dangerous. Although Chu Fan had some trump cards, he didn't want to use them in this place. As for the 9 Dragon Abyss in the Supreme Domain and the Qingkuan Cave in the Qingkuan Domain, either could be chosen. System, can I choose both? Can I go to the Qingkuan Cave first and then to the 9 Dragon Abyss? This is a sequence question, not a choice question, Master. You can go to all 3 places at any time. The earlier you complete them, the richer the rewards will be. Chu Fan nodded. That's more like it. At that moment, he decided to visit the Qingkuan Cave first. When he chose to sign in at the Qingkuan Cave, a surge of information flooded into his mind, detailing the coordinates of the sign-in location and an introduction to the Qingkuan Cave. Chapter 555. Entering the Qingkuan Cave. Gaining control, the mysterious place, halfway up the main peak of Langlang Mountain, had long been discovered by the wandering Heavenly Sovereign. After she became the strongest in the Qingkuan domain, she sought methods to break through. In the eyes of others, she was the most talented and strongest being in the Qingquan domain. However, her ambitions lay elsewhere. The small Qingquan domain was merely a temporary stop for her. Her goal was to expand her territory in the supreme domain and establish a top power. By chance, she arrived at Langlang Mountain. Initially, she intended to reach the summit to enjoy the view, but she discovered an anomaly halfway up. Upon exploring, she found that cultivating at that cave entrance led to faster progress than in the cave heavens of the Snowfall divine sect. Not only that, but some previously incomprehensible problems gradually revealed their essence during cultivation. This discovery brought her immense joy. For a long time afterward, she would come here to cultivate, and her cultivation broke through to the late stage of the primordial heavenly sovereign realm. The world believed that the cultivation level of the strongest in the Qingquan domain was only at the mid-stage of the heavenly sovereign realm. In reality, she was just concealing her true strength. She also knew that the heavenly sovereigns of top forces like the Qingquan sect were scheming to surpass her. Chapter 556, The Rainbow Seven. Obtaining the fragment of the primordial source tree, these 7 cultivators of different colors, despite their weak auras, were recognized by Chu Fan and the wandering heavenly sovereign. The 4 in red, yellow, blue, and green were at the perfection stage of the primordial heavenly sovereign realm, while the 3 in cyan, blue, and purple were at the late stage. The wandering heavenly sovereign nervously watched the 7 people flying over, unconsciously moving closer to Chu Fan. She could only handle 1 or 2 late-stage heavenly sovereigns at most, and it was uncertain about those at the perfection stage. She also didn't know the specific strength of these elders. Soon, the 7 elders landed before Chu Fan and began to scrutinize them. "Where did you come in from?" asked the elder in red, his weathered face revealing a hint of expectation in his murky eyes. They had been trapped here for nearly 1 billion years. And, at the beginning, there were 132 primordial heavenly sovereigns trapped together with them, with a continuous torment from the heavenly Tao of the sacred realm. All but these 7 had perished, their cultivation devoured by the heavenly Tao. They managed to endure countless torments due to their stronger strength, but remained deeply afflicted by curses. Every 10 days, they would transform into a beautiful rainbow hanging in the sky, enduring the scorching heat. Chapter 557. Qiu Ruoyun's actions after reviewing the rewards. Chu Fan looked at the rainbow team, who were still in shock. "Since you have acknowledged me as your master, I will give you a gift." Saying this, Chu Fan took out the great primordial origin pill and controlled it to fly in front of the rainbow team. "Master, what is this?" Elder Qi asked, puzzled. As he looked at the great primordial origin pill, sensing the immense energy contained within it, Chu Fan explained, "This is the great primordial origin pill. It can heal the scars of the great Tao within you. Each of you will receive one." Upon learning that it was such a miraculous pill, the 7 quickly took the great primordial origin pill in hand and carefully stored away. "From now on, you'll be the guardians of the Taoist sect." "Yes, Master," the 7 responded in unison. The wandering heavenly sovereign was slightly surprised, then realized that what Chu Fan referred to as the Shantian sect should actually be the Taoist sect. However, to conceal his identity, he used the name of the Shantian sect. She was very clever and knew that Chu Fan hadn't avoided her, which clearly meant he trusted her, and she wouldn't reveal this to others. Even if she wanted to, she had to weigh the consequences. The 7 late-stage and perfection primordial heavenly sovereigns had now acknowledged Chu Fan as their master. This meant that on the surface, the Shantian sect now had at least 8 experts beyond the late stage of the primordial heavenly sovereign realm. Chapter 558. Changes in the Supreme Palace's forbidden area. Just as Qiu Ruoyun was a loss, Yi Guanjing emerged from seclusion. The first thing Yi Guanjing did after coming out was to summon all the elders of the Supreme Palace. "Elders, there are changes in the forbidden area. Time is of the essence. Please follow me to suppress the rampaging demonic creatures." After speaking, Yi Guanjing did not linger and led Qiu Ruoyun and the other elders to the forbidden area. The other elders looked at Yi Guanjing's serious expression and knew the situation must be dire, so they remained mostly silent on the way. Qiu Ruoyun appeared calm on the surface, but he was extremely excited inside. "Heaven is helping me. Just as I was thinking about how to enter the forbidden area, this opportunity has come." Soon, Yi Guanjing brought everyone to the forbidden area, continuously throwing dozens of seals into the void above, and the barrier of the forbidden area finally opened. "The dangers inside the forbidden area are numerous. You must stay close behind me." Yi Guanjing solemnly reminded. All the elders responded in unison, "Yes, Palace Master." As everyone entered the forbidden area, it was their first time inside. Looking at the thick black mist enveloping them, it was completely different from what they had imagined. They thought the forbidden area would be a beautiful cultivation sanctuary, just like the Qinkuan cave, but upon entering, they saw this scene. Chapter 559. The Heavenly Sovereign of the Celestial Dawn, What's the Matter? While staying in the Qinkuan cave, Chu Fan noticed that the communication token he left for Qiu Riyun was ringing. So he asked, "The Qinkuan cave is now under the control of Chu Fan, so he can still communicate with the outside world from within the cave. Master, there is someone who asked me to give you a spatial ring." Qiu Riyun recounted everything he had seen and heard in the forbidden area of the Supreme Hall to Chu Fan. After listening, Chu Fan speculated that the shadow Qiu Riyun mentioned was either the master of the Tianji Pavilion or his old madman of a master. At that moment, Chu Fan replied, "We will meet in the Nine Dragons Abyss in 2 days." He put away the communication token and told Qi Lao and the others the location of the De Sect, instructing them to go directly there after they recovered. Chu Fan also handed each of them a jade slip, which would allow them to enter and exit the De Sect freely. Of course, this jade slip was disposable, meant to ensure the safety of those who were cultivating in the De Sect. After briefly explaining some matters to Qi Lao, Chu Fan left the Qinkuan cave and headed towards the Supreme Domain. After Chu Fan took control of the Qinkuan cave, he removed the restrictions on Qi Lao and the others, allowing them to enter and exit freely. Chapter 560. Refining the Primordial Source Branch. Breaking through to the perfect Supreme Realm, Ding successfully signed in at the Nine Dragons Abyss, gaining the protection of the Ancestral Dragon's aura. The moment Chu Fan entered the Nine Dragons Abyss, the system's voice rang out in his mind, and the next moment, a faint golden light surged from his body, enveloping him. Inside the Nine Dragons Abyss, the desolate and ravaging winds howled, but with the Ancestral Dragon's aura, Chu Fan could ignore it. Otherwise, even if Chu Fan were powerful, he couldn't stay long in the Nine Dragons Abyss. The environment here was too harsh, capable of wearing down the Primordial Supreme Realm and trapping it completely. Chu Fan looked towards the 2 towering peaks in the distance, where he sensed an ancient aura, similar to the faint golden light surrounding him. Without a doubt, that was where the Ancestral Dragon resided. Chu Fan did not rush over, but instead took out the spatial ring. When his divine sense touched the restrictions inside the spatial ring, Chu Fan smiled. He felt the aura of his old madman master. Indeed, this was the spatial ring of his old madman master. Soon, Chu Fan unlocked the restrictions on the spatial ring and saw what was inside. There weren't many items, just a seemingly decayed branch and 3 ancient, incomplete maps. Congratulations, Master. You have obtained the 3rd primordial source branch and 3 incomplete maps of the primordial source tree's location. Chapter 561. Slay the Primordial Supreme. Ascend the primordial source tree. The Tianqian Supreme wanted to escape, but the black vortex beneath him had already begun to exert force, continuously sucking him in. The Tianqian Supreme struggled, but alas, Chu Fan's strength was far too great for him to handle. With 3 primordial source branches aiding him, Chu Fan was invincible at the same level, something the Tianqian Supreme could not contend with. Half an hour later, with a scream, the Tianqian Supreme was completely absorbed by the black vortex and fell completely. Boom! After the fall of the Tianqian Supreme, a large expanse of red clouds appeared in the sky, accompanied by the sound of thunder as blood-red raindrops pattered down onto the ground. In the depths of the earth, the Fuyu Supreme, who was studying the markings on the stone door, felt something and, with a thought, appeared outside the Supreme Hall. Looking at the blood rain falling from the sky, the Fuyu Supreme's expression changed drastically. Could it be that the Tianqian Supreme has fallen? How could this be? The Fuyu Supreme could hardly believe that the Tianqian Supreme, who was slightly stronger than him, had actually fallen. No one in the entire Holy Realm should be able to match the Tianqian Supreme. The Fuyu Supreme decided to personally verify the situation at the Supreme Hall. Meanwhile, after killing the Tianqian Supreme, Chu Fan also had a basic estimation of his own strength. With the assistance of the primordial source branches, Chu Fan's cultivation had reached the pinnacle of this world. Chapter 562. Breakthrough to the transformation into Freedom Realm, finale and completion remarks. Ahead, a lush green tree stood tall on the vast land, its dense leaves sparkling with points of starlight. This was the primordial source tree, and the massive branches on it emitted the same aura as the primordial source branches that Chu Fan had refined. Master, this is the primordial source tree, which serves as the vessel for countless worlds. You can use it now. Chu Fan nodded, understanding what the system meant. The system began to use the transformation into freedom experience. As soon as he finished speaking, an endless and immense power surged from the source of the Tao in Chu Fan's lower abdomen, directly breaking through his cultivation. Boom! Accompanied by an explosion, Chu Fan's body transformed into countless points of starlight, scattering across the numerous leaves of the primordial source tree. The primordial source tree seemed to come alive, beginning to shake its branches to welcome Chu Fan's arrival. Although his body had disappeared, Chu Fan's consciousness remained. Now, he felt as if he had countless avatars, immersed in the various worlds carried by the tree leaves. He saw the Kanglan realm, the Void realm, the mysterious realm, and countless other worlds, each slowly growing. Among them, he also witnessed the birth of the Holy Realm, its growth, and its development into its current form.